BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: MPs criticise investigations into Trojan Horse Schools plot, police told to drop Cyril Smith inquiry, and criticism of store opening in Aylesbury.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. 5 separate inquiries were held into the so-called Trojan Horse plot in Birmingham, but no evidence was found. More from Gillian Hargreaves.
In a scathing assessment, MPs said the 5 inquiries carried out by the Department for Education, Birmingham City Council, Ofsted, West Midlands Police and the Education Funding Agency, which oversees academies, duplicated work and didn't share knowledge. Ofsted was criticised for an inability to identify problems at some schools, which it had previously rated as outstanding. In response, the school's inspectorate said sudden changes in governance and leadership had led to rapid deterioration in standards at the schools.
Claims have emerged that police who uncovered evidence of child sexual abuse involving the Liberal MP Cyril Smith in the 1980s were ordered by senior officers to abandon their investigation. BBC Newsnight has been told they were threatened with the Official Secrets Act if they ever spoke of the case again. The incident is understood to be one of 14 allegations of serious corruption at Scotland Yard that are being investigated by the Independent Police Complaints Commission. A Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new store in Aylesbury which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals. More from Tony Fisher.
Yvonne Fauvargue has chaired a parliamentary inquiry into rent-to-own companies like Bright House. She says there's a real lack of transparency in the weekly payment charges and people are not being properly told how much they're going to have to pay. On its website, Bright House says the vast majority of their customers take out a finance credit agreement with them and they publish a lending charter which they strictly adhere to.
The government is increasing the minimum pay for apprentices by considerably more than its independent advisers had recommended. Business leaders have called the 20% rise to £3.30 an hour disappointing. Excuse me, the national minimum wage is going up to £6.70 in line with the Low Pay Commission's advice. Hitchin Town Football Club has secured its future in its current home after plans to build a supermarket on Topfield were dropped. Chief Executive Andy Melvin says public support helped the developers change their mind.
When it all started to kick off, they started to realise that, well, perhaps this is not a good idea. And obviously, it was a big superstore chain that was interested, and I think they decided they weren't interested anymore. So I think all these things made an impact on the result.
In sport, Reading are through to the FA Cup semi-finals after a 3-0 replay win over Bradford. Reading will face Arsenal in the Wembley semi-finals. In the Premier League, Liverpool won 1-0 at Swansea. And there's a full Football League programme tonight with matches for promotion challenging Watford, MK Dons, Wycombe, Luton and Stevenage. The weather, cloudy with some showers this morning, brightening up with some sunny intervals this afternoon, a maximum temperature 9 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
You can do it right now, please.
Yes, and we're going to do it right now, Sir Paul. We're going to do it right now, please. I don't even know what a Dolce & Gabbana is.
Never you mind, it's not for you.
I didn't know. I mean, I was aware that they were handbags. I didn't know that they were actual people. I didn't know that.
Joe Dolce, of course.
And
should that be your face?
Steve Gabbana. I didn't know they were real people. It's like B&Q are real people. I don't understand the argument. They've said Elton John's babies are plastic. And
synthetic, yeah.
It seems, and he said, let's not buy Dolce & Gabbana clothes.
Well, it turns out I've been boycotting them for about 37 years.
It's the poshest argument of all time, isn't it? Isn't it posh? Well, today we're discussing posh arguments.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Posh arguments today. Let's think of some posh arguments.
Like if I'm pushing the children around a well-known supermarket.
Yeah. Lidl.
No, and I'll say, what kind of pasta should we have tonight, girls? And then there's an argument about whether it's fusilli or linguine.
Yeah.
That's quite a posh argument, no?
Oh, well, yeah, OK. If we're going to do Tea Time Kids, we have an argument about whether the boys had an argument the other day about whether to go to Wagamama's or Yo Sushi.
Wow, those kids.
Flipping, how middle class are they? Upper middle.
My daughter has she's let me down.
Let's write this on the whiteboard.
She's obviously she's a product of two quite common people.
Yeah.
But she's told me the other day she doesn't like Domino's pizzas. She'd rather have one from the supermarket.
Oh.
I mean, whose is this kid? She's some sort of changeling.
Posh arguments. It's on the whiteboard, so it's happening.
You be careful with that.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting caught up. Posh arguments. 08459. I'm not going to give out the number in the first hour because no one calls in.
It looks like someone's taken a bite out of the corner of your whiteboard.
Yeah, I've taken the rim off. The rim always makes me very uncomfortable, dear listener. So, what other celebrity posh arguments might there be? This is what I'm trying to... so I'm just fiddling with my knobs. There we go. Posh celebrity arguments.
What, in the past?
Has the Queen ever fallen foul of... she ever had an argument? Well, her and Diana, that was quite a posh argument.
She didn't really argue with her. She just didn't
had her
talk to
done.
anymore. No, she never had it.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. She just didn't talk to him. She had her done. She didn't talk to him. Well, that's what that phrase means. Oh, Plebgate. That was a posh argument, wasn't it?
Well, no, because the police weren't posh, but they weren't plebs.
Well, exactly, you see. It was about class. Posh arguments this morning. Kelly Betts, you're quite posh, aren't you? Oh, the phones are ringing already.
I mean, arguably...
Maybe because I've just libelled the Queen.
Arguably, this Clarkson thing, or whatever happened, was
Not
quite
posh.
a posh argument.
Not posh.
Why? He's posh.
No. No.
Juice is probably quite posh.
It's... No. It's a bloke.
And it was over a steak.
It's a bloke scuffle.
Oh, you reckon?
It's a bloke scuffle. That's all it is.
Right.
That's all it is.
Oh! I know, the Saatchis. That was a posh argument.
Oh. Well, is domestic abuse posh?
No, but he did it in a very posh restaurant.
Andy?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello.
Are you really quiet, or is it my ears that are quiet?
It's probably because I'm in my car, that's probably...
Yeah, you are. Can you get a bit,
Cockier. Louder.
louder?
Andy, can you think of any posh arguments?
Posh argument?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, mate. I assume that's what you called in for.
No.
Oh, what have you called in for then, And?
I called in because you were saying yesterday that your main point today was about how are you?
Hey! A listener with a memory!
All right then, Andy.
How are you?
I'm not that well, really.
Go on.
I'm actually going to the gym at the moment, which I do every day. I go swimming, do 60 lengths, because I've got a lot of problems with my knee. I'm going to need a new knee soon.
Hey.
And,
are you allowed to choose the colour?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just I don't know much about knee transplantation.
Yeah, well, it's quite a difficult thing, but it's quite common these days.
Yeah.
I've had both my hips replaced already.
Flippin' heck, Andy, what's wrong with you?
Do you know what? You are the... I know quite a lot of men. How old are you, Andy?
I'm 63.
Right, bingo. Do you know what your problem was? I'm
too
guessing.
old. It's too old.
No. Playing football on a weekend, going to work on the Monday.
Yeah.
It sounds like a weird thing, but my neighbour's just had the same thing, and he thought it was his hip, but actually it was his knee, and because he was overcompensating, it went down to his hip and all this stuff, and it was because you don't give yourself enough recovery time.
Are you? And I say this, and this sounds like I'm being flippant, Andy. I'm not. I'm always one. I've never had anything removed from my body, and I wonder if you do have something removed from your body, are you allowed to keep it? For example, have you got your hips? Will you be taking your kneecap home?
No, I haven't, but what you do get, which is quite interesting, you do get the X-rays, and it's quite interesting before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could make a yarmulke out of a kneecap.
No.
You couldn't do that, or a brooch, or something for Mother's Day. I don't know if your mother's still with us, Andy, but what a great, if she were, what a great gift, giving a bit of her son back.
Yeah. She is still going. She's 91, but she's still going.
Give her a kneecap, Andy!
Everyone needs a patella in their life.
Andy, thank you very much indeed. What a great call.
Patella?
That's isn't that a Spanish dish with lobsters in?
Oh, yeah, silly me.
Kelly's got some news for us. Kelly?
I forgot the song that you want,
Oy.
and I don't know if we're on air in Buckinghamshire. So if anyone's in Buckinghamshire,
Why would you know?
And they because our lights flashing, which means we're off air in Buckinghamshire.
Okay, well, we can say something specifically for Buckingham.
Yeah, you all suck, Bucks. Everybody who lives in Bucks sucks.
So if you
You
can't
guys
hear
are
us,
losers, and I'm
call
glad
us.
you can't hear us, because you sucks, Bucks.
That'll be Bucks on the phone.
Oh, we should probably do this.
Yeah, let's have. Can you give me some breathing sounds?
I'll give you a breathing sound.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, MPs are questioning the actions of Ofsted in the latest report into the Trojan horse scandal. Their comments come in the latest report into an alleged plot by hardline Muslims to take control of a number of schools and governing bodies in Birmingham. It's uncovered a worrying and wasteful lack of collaboration between the numerous inquiries into the situation. Catherine, give us the background to this.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry.
this latest report is from the Education Select Committee, and it's talking about a situation that started back in March 2014 when Birmingham City Council revealed it was investigating a number of schools after receiving an anonymous letter. Now, this letter talked about something called Operation Trojan Horse, which appeared to be a plot by some Muslim groups to take control by installing school governors and getting rid of certain head teachers in favour of their own. Now, this letter is now widely believed to have been a hoax, but it's the way the whole thing was handled that MPs have been looking into this time around.
They're concerned that several separate investigations ended up clashing and undermining each other.
Yeah, there were 5 investigations going on at the same time, and they were conducted by the Department of Education, Birmingham City Council, Ofsted, West Midlands Police, and the Education Funding Agency, which oversees academies. Now, the MPs on the committee found that the number of overlapping inquiries contributed to what they're calling the sense of crisis and confusion, and the number of reports coming out at different times and often leaked in advance was far from helpful. So the scope for coordination, according to this report, between inquiries by the Education Funding Agency, Ofsted and others is restricted by their statutory roles, but more coordination could and should have been achieved. All the reports included recommendations that went far beyond the situation in the particular schools concerned, and the Department for Education should draw together the recommendations from all the investigations and set out its response.
I heard a rumour that Ofsted doesn't come out too well in this either.
Not at all. According to this report, there was an inability by Ofsted to identify problems at some schools on first inspection, which, according to MPs, raises questions about the appropriateness of the framework and reliability and robustness of Ofsted's judgments and how they're reached.
Don't know what that means.
Well, it gets to the very core. It's suggesting that Ofsted don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
The committee says confidence in Ofsted's been undermined and efforts should be made by the inspectorate to restore it in Birmingham and beyond.
OK, well, we'll have more on that a little bit later on, I think, Catherine.
Well, I mean, I was going to say that this sort of had, although that this letter is now widely believed to have been a hoax and no evidence of radicalisation was found, there's been knock-on effects because there's been a move towards ensuring that all schools are teaching appropriate Britishness and democracy and tolerance.
Yes.
Now, you'll know that that's a standard that's already caught out a couple of local schools around here. You remember the Olive Tree Primary School in Luton was flagged up by Ofsted, who suggested it promoted fundamentalist views which do not support pupils' development for life in modern Britain. Now, something its head denies. And also, more recently, the Rabia Girls and Boys Academy, again in Luton, was accused of holding back girls' education, restricting them to domestic science while the boys had access to labs and gym equipment. Again, the school argues there is no bias, but they've been told to do more to offer equal opportunities.
OK, Catherine, stay there. Why don't you? You're getting old and it's hard for you to get up these days. Ben's in Wickham blimey, in Bucks. Good morning, Ben. I'm assuming you're calling in to tell us you can't hear us.
No, I can hear you loud and clear on DAB, sir.
Oh, flipping heck. Have you heard everything we've said so far?
Well, you said it. I never said it.
Every single word.
Hey, Ben. Oh, she told me to say it.
I never said that.
She told me to say it. She's the producer, Ben.
Well, I might have to reconsider my point of view of your programme.
Get me out of this one, Catherine. Quick, dig.
Ben, I would entirely encourage you to do that.
Listen,
consider us completely.
No, when I said Bucks sucks, what I meant was...
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Bucks.
Yeah, go on.
Got to be so careful.
What's
Bucks.
it sucking on? The lollipop of your imagination.
I.e., it's the best place to live. The best county out of all of them.
We were talking about lollipops yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Hey, Ben, Ben, I can turn this around.
Uh-huh.
How are you feeling, mate?
Excellent.
There we go, Ben. Thank you very much indeed. I think I managed to swing that. Speaking of swingers, here's Mark in Bletchley. Good morning, Mark.
Always swinging on the 17th floor, Ian.
Yeah, well, that's the best floor for swinging, isn't it?
That floor's rocking.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised.
If the floor's rocking, then please don't come knocking. It means we're having it away.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Literally.
Well.
Anyway, Mark.
Good morning, both, or all three of you, anyway. You're transmitting. Yes, this is your Anorak transmitter update.
Oh, there's always one.
Yeah, you know me. You lost your stereo signal for a few minutes, but you're back on now. That means on your Luton one was off, Sandy Heath was off, and the 104.5 at Brickhill was...
Kelly is suggesting that people can only hear us in one speaker, i.e. mono.
Yeah, he said the stereo signal was off.
But then he said it came back.
Off, and that means the on some sets, the overall volume would be low. But you're back on now. I can see the red light.
What do you mean you can see? What have you got?
Well, I've got a radio. It tells you if it's transmitting the stereo signal. It's just a small red light that comes on.
In technology, brilliant, Mark.
Well, it's only it's old analogue.
Hey, Mark.
DAB here yet, Ian?
Mark.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm okay. Okay.
Really?
But honestly, Mark, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've just been doing my sandwiches, ready to go to work. I've got a bit of overtime this morning.
Oh, beautiful. What you got in your sandwiches?
Pork and stuffing sandwiches.
Oh, that's horrible.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Between Kingsley and Tame, the A4129 is blocked in both directions by an accident. A car is overturned between there and the emergency services are all on the scene. In High Wycombe on Marlow Hill, there's temporary traffic lights just before Marlow Road, which could cause some delays this morning, but looking on the speed sensors around High Wycombe, it's looking quite quiet so far. In Bricketwood on the North Orbital Road, it's looking slow around the M25 junction 21A roundabout, but no reports of any problems at the moment on the M25 or around the rest of the motorways are looking clear so far this morning. On the train departure boards, no major delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 6:16. It is Tuesday?
Yeah.
The 17th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. And a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
As the general election gets closer, we want to know what you really think.
Sometimes it gets a bit boring, I think.
But we kind of feel like nothing changes.
Parliament really needs a good shake-up.
We're holding a number of debates across Beds, Herts and Bucks, focusing on the biggest issues.
The national health, I think that's a big concern at the moment.
Immigration, probably.
I think education, more than anything.
If you'd like to take part and have your say, you can register your interest right now. Email 3cr@bbc.co.uk or call 08459 455 555.
I always do the vote because I think it's my right to vote.
Election 2015 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Chris is in Hitchin. Good morning, Chris.
Hi, Ian. How you doing? You seem to have sorted the sound out now. It seems to be through those speakers in the car.
It's literally, Catherine and I were on our hands and knees in the studio.
Yeah.
And despite that, someone fixed it. Hey!
Can I have my spanner back?
To Dunstall yet, is it? You know, trying to get all the technology moved over there?
Oh, we're not going to be there for ages.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think we're ever going to go to Dunstable.
I've stopped believing in it.
No.
I think it was a fairy story.
It's a carrot that's being dangled in front of our faces, Chris. the Dunstable carrot.
Yeah. How are you guys? Are you all okay in there?
Oh, don't ask.
No, he's got to ask.
How are you? Where's J-Dog? What are you doing with him today? Is he out in the mist and rain?
J-Dog is out and about. We're not sure what we're going to send him out on, actually.
But we're going to speak to him in a minute about this Bright House story.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk to him. So
glad you asked. That was a nice segue.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Chris. My bottom is very sore.
Oh, really?
Yep. So,
should we not go there?
Oh, OK, you asked how I was. I was answering the question,
Okay,
but that's
carry
fine.
on, then.
No, I'll wait for somebody who's interested.
Okay.
But
How am I?
mine's fine, just in case you're wondering.
Oh, hang on. Chris just uttered
How am I?
the most pathetic, and in its literal sense, pathetic sentence ever. What did you just say, Chris?
How am I?
How are you, Chris?
Well, I'm okay at the moment, but I'm about to start a shift till the 6th of April in London, working at the Ideal Home, and it's non-stop, every day, 8 till 6, and then a couple of 8 till 9 o'clock at night. So I want you to ask me how I am on the 6th of April when I get back, or the 7th of April.
We're only asking it today, I'm afraid, Chris. I'm going to be strict with that. Webby?
Morning, mate.
How are you, mate?
I'm feeling a lot better than I was 20 minutes ago.
Why? What happened?
I was having to listen to Radio 1.
Yay.
Gosh, why would you do that?
Exactly.
Are those guys still going?
That's all I heard.
Bum chicka bum chicka bum chicka bum.
Yeah, bass coming through my speakers.
Yeah. You know I'm all about the bass, back the bass, back the treble. No.
I'm all about the bass, but the bass.
I'm glad it's all sorted anyway.
OK, well, thank you for calling in, Webby. I'm glad we managed to sort it all out.
If you want to tell us how you are, 08459 455.
And that's what one of the things we're going to send you out on today, Just.
Looking forward to that one.
How are you? I'm not asking you yet. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you a little bit later on.
OK.
And if you get the, I'm fine, then you ask the, no, but really, how are you?
Yeah. To push them to the limit. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Did you find that song, Kels?
It's just saving. It's really slow.
OK,
well, it's
wait.
an old song.
We'll wait.
Okay.
Come on, what's the tune?
It's a good song, man.
Tease the dog, come on.
It's Mama Cass. Yeah. Before she was Mama Cass.
Ooh.
Don't forget I'm doing other stuff.
I know you're very busy and you are excellent at doing it. The phones have gone mental today, Just.
It's a great phone-in. It's just one of those phone-ins which I think ticks all the boxes.
Well, we don't know yet whether it ticks the interesting content
I haven't
box.
even made any boxes.
It's Mama Cass. Before she was Mama Cass, in a group called The Big Three. I bought it on vinyl at the weekend.
Yes.
Found a record shop in Birmingham. Brilliant, discovery. And and I played it last night thinking, oh, this ain't going to be much good. It was flipping brilliant.
Now, The Big Three, were they signed or were they unsigned at the time?
They were signed.
They were signed.
They released a couple of albums. And they were excellent.
Two fellas and Cass, wasn't it?
Two fellas and Cass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Kels. Come on.
She's
What's those fingers?
She is working overtime this morning. I mean, not literally overtime. She's working her designated hours. But... Hey, exciting, very quickly, exciting rock day here at BBC Three Counties Radio as two rock legends are being interviewed by two radio presenting legends.
Neither of them are coming into the studio, though.
No.
I know what's going on here. I know what's going on.
Go on.
You're going to be interviewing one of the Monkeys.
Correct.
And Nick Coffer, who for some reason at the moment is getting all the big names.
Isn't he?
He's going to be interviewing one of the Kinks.
He's got Ray Davis.
Unbelievable.
I know. 3:30 this afternoon, we're both interviewing rock legends. How exciting is that?
It's amazing. Absolutely brilliant.
Deal, say hello to Mark.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah.
How you feeling today?
Oh, I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds to me like there's a bit of an issue there. What's happened this morning, Mark? You sound a bit down. Mark?
Mark, are you there?
Mark?
I told you this would take a dark turn.
Hang on, he's... dark turn?
I told you.
He's there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm here.
What?
Why so quiet?
I've warned you about this one.
Mark, what have you got for us?
Right, there's 5 people walking up on the hard shoulder of the M1 with a load of suitcases.
What?
Yeah. It looks like their car's broken down. They've left one person behind and they're all walking up towards Junction 10.
They are desperate to get to the airport.
They are.
Whereabouts are they, Mark?
Just in between, say about 600 yards away from Junction 10 still, yeah.
Right, well, I happen to know that we are the station of choice for the boys in blue, so maybe they want to go and make sure that these people are safe.
And nick them.
Well,
maybe they want to go. No, maybe they want to go and nick them. You're not allowed to do that.
Get them behind the barrier at least.
You're not.
They're not behind the barrier. They're on the hard shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you. They need to get behind the barrier.
Have you ever missed a flight? Call me now.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. There's 5 of them, are there, Mark?
Cheers.
Okay, he's gone. He's done his bit.
Business time, Mark.
Flipping heck. That's a weird one, isn't it?
It is a weird one, but if somebody's desperate to get to the airport, if they've got something big happening at the other end, you're going to do all you can, surely.
Just have a piece of this.
the mountain, I look for that rainbow sign. 15 miles on that lonesome road, and I'll be with that gal of mine. Oh yeah, I'll be with that gal of mine. Well, I may be right, and I may be wrong, but you know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. There's a lone star shining, shining so fair and bright. If I follow that star through the wind and the rain, I'd be with my darling tonight. Oh yeah, I'd be with my darling tonight. Well, I may be right, and I may be wrong, but you know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, when I'm gone. Well, I may be right, and I may be wrong, but you know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, when I'm gone, when I'm gone.
That'll do, wouldn't it? That'll do. Lovely. Right, we've got to crack on with this. Election scrap alert, boys and girls, ladles and jelly spoons. A Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new store in a shopping centre, which is part owned by the Conservative-run Aylesbury Vale District Council. Yvonne, how would you say this name, Catherine? Fauvergue?
Forvarg.
Forvarg, thank you. Iain Forvarg thinks the council shouldn't have allowed Bright House to set up in the Hale Lees Centre because it charges high rates of interest to people on limited incomes in rent-to-buy deals. She suggests it's morally wrong. Justin, Bright House, I've heard the name. What does it do?
Basically, Bright House is a rent-to-own retail chain. Got about 300, well, just under 300 stores in the UK. In a nutshell, Ian, what you do, you buy electronics, appliances, things like washing machines, televisions, and you pay for them in weekly payments instead of paying for them up front. So obviously in the long run the items are going to be a lot more expensive than paying for them in a one-off payment, but that's where the concern comes in here. The whole concept of people going into debt to buy everyday items. On their website, what Bright House say is that the vast majority of our customers take out a finance credit agreement with us, and it's important that we form a long-term relationship with our customers. So you're paying for something over maybe 2 years, and that is going to cost you more money.
And a Labour MP is against these sort of companies?
Yes, Yvonne Farag has chaired a parliamentary inquiry into rent-to-own companies like Bright House. She's concerned because, as we mentioned there, ultimately these things are going to cost a lot more in the long run. A washing machine that you could buy in John Lewis, for argument's sake, for a few £100s, which would include a 5-star service plan. If you go with Bright House, it could cost you something like £1,800. That's according to Yvonne. She also says that during the inquiry we found there was a real lack of transparency in the weekly payment charges. There is a lot of people who she believes are concerned about companies a bit like Bright House.
But a local Conservative MP supports Bright House.
Yeah, and it's a weird one, this, because, you know, for me it's a service which is there. If people don't want to use it, they don't have to use it. Richard Harrington, the MP for Watford, he told us that he did have a lot of reservations about Bright House, but after going on a tour in one of the local stores, he thinks in actual fact they're a good thing. And both those people will be joining you live on the show a bit later.
Just take How You Feeling to the streets. We'll speak to you just before 7.
Yeah, no problem, boss.
Cheers, Modest. Ta-ta. It's an interesting one. You remember
when people used to rent tellies?
I was going to say Rumbelows and what was the
Radio rentals.
Radio rentals, mental radio rentals. That was it. Of course, I am old enough to have. When I lived in a shared house, we rented a VHS video recorder, and you paid, I don't even know what it was, a couple of quid a week, and you never owned it. So, surely it's just an extension of that, isn't it? But at the end of it, you get to own it. I don't know. Well, we'll speak to them both later on. Your thoughts on that, please. Let's get the Trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the motorways, no major problems reported so far, although on the M1, Mark did call to say earlier on that there are 4 people walking around with suitcases around junction 10. We are looking for them on the cameras, but we can't see them just yet, but they could be causing a hazard on the M1. It also looks quite shiny and wet on the roads as well, so visibility could be a problem with the mist and fog this morning too. In Kingsley on the A4129, in both directions between Kingsley and Tame, that's been blocked by a car that's overturned between Haddon Road and the Kingsley Road junction. And in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way, looking at the speed sensors around the Kingston roundabout, it's not looking too bad at the moment, but expect delays later on because of the roadworks there. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. And a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Reading through to the FA Cup semi-finals after a 3-0 replay win over Bradford. Reading will face Arsenal in the Wembley semi-finals. In the Premier League, Liverpool are 2 points behind 4th place Manchester United in the race for Champions League places after a 1-0 win at Swansea. There's a full Football League programme tonight. In the Championship, 2nd place Watford go to struggling Wigan. Midfielder Ben Watson comes up against his former club and says the players are focusing on Hornets fan Nick Crewis, who's still fighting for his life in hospital.
No one deserves what he got. He went to watch a game of football and ends up in a coma, which is terrible, and hopefully he continues to get better and he can pull through, and as I say, every win we get now will be dedicated to Nick.
In League One, Milton Keynes Dons travel to Oldham with the playoff place looking more likely than automatic promotion for Carl Robinson's side.
While we're missing our players at key stages, it's difficult to find that form that we were magnificent doing. But
is your mind starting to think about planning for the playoffs?
Well, let's get in the playoffs first, and then if we can keep going and push for automatic, we'll do that as well.
In League 2, 2nd placed Wickham host Accrington, Stevenage are at Exeter, and Luton go to Newport. Skipper Steve McNulty is expected to be fit after coming off in the defeat to Portsmouth, with manager John Still still aiming for automatic promotion.
Absolutely. We need to try and find a way of winning maybe 7 games. Draw here and draw there. That's what we need to try and do. We've done it before. That's what we're going to be trying to do again. Away form's been shocking. Away form has not been good. It hasn't been good. So only go one way, can't it?
And there's coverage of all tonight's matches on Three Counties Sport tonight from 7. In the Champions League, Arsenal are away to Monaco tonight, trailing 3-1 from the first leg of their last 16 tie. And in Netball Super League, Hertfordshire Mavericks lost 56-43 at home to Manchester Thunder. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Hi there, nice to be with you. Happy you could stick around. Like to introduce Legs Larry Smith, drums. And Sam Spoon's rhythm pole. And Vernon Dudley Bohay Noel, bass guitar. And Neil Innes, piano. Come in, Rodney Slater alto saxophone. With Roger Ruskin Spear on tenor sax. Hi, Vivian Stanchel, trumpet. Big hello to Big John Wayne, xylophone. And Robert Morley, guitar. Billy Butlin, spoons. And looking very relaxed, Adolf Hitler on vibes. Nice. Princess Anne on sousaphone. Introducing Liberace clarinet. With Garner Ted Armstrong on vocals. Lord Snooty and his pals tap dancing. In the groove with Harold Wilson violin. And Franklin McCormack on harmonica. Over there, Eric Clapton, ukulele. Hi, Eric. On my left, Sir Kenneth Park, bass sax. Great honor, sir. And specially flown in for us, a Sessions gorilla on Vox Humana. Nice to see Incredible Shrinking Man on euphonium. Drop out with Peter Scott on duck call. Hearing from you later, Casanova on horn. Yeah, digging General de Gaulle on accordion. Really wild, General. Thank you, sir. Roy Rogers on trigger. Tune in Wild Man of Borneo on bongos. Count Basie Orchestra on triangle. Thank you. Great to hear the Rollinsons on trombone. Back from his recent operation, Dan Drupp, hot. And representing the Flower People, Quasimodo on bells. Wonderful to hear Brainiac on banjo. We welcome Baldunicans himself. Very appealing Max Jaffa. That's nice, Max. What a team, Zebra Kit and Horace Batchelor on percussion. And a great favorite and a wonderful performer, all this here, J. Arthur Rank on gong.
There's not a lot in the papers today.
Fighting in a comedy club. Have you seen this one?
Oh, yeah, over Jeremy Hardy, who I like Jeremy Hardy.
But he's not a kind of angry type.
No, he's a cardigans and slipper kind of guy.
Outrageous. Two women brawled at a comedy club because one was laughing too loudly. I would suggest that maybe some booze had been taken.
Yes, yes.
Performer Jeremy Hardy said there was actually a full-on physical fight. Police were called to the brew house in Burton Staffs and both were thrown out. The Radio 4 star said this is the first time it's ever happened, but it was really quite exciting.
That's a posh argument.
Yeah.
That's a posh argument, because he's very middle class, and he is...
He's quite Waitrose, isn't he?
Yeah, I saw him years ago, and he was kind of being tipped to be bigger than he actually became. And he was wearing a cardigan and was very charming and very, very delightful.
Fair play.
Posh arguments we're discussing this morning after the whole Elton John, Dolce & Gabbana debacle that's going on. So one of the Gabbanas, or Dolce... said that... did he say that gay couples shouldn't have children?
Yeah, he says that it's not the natural order of things.
Well, it isn't.
You should just
it isn't natural. In the, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not natural in the literal sense of natural. Mm-hmm. So he said that gay couples shouldn't have kids, and also that IVF was they were synthetic babies. Yeah. And so Elton John has had a hissy fit and said, well, we should all boycott Dolce & Gabbana's clothes and bags.
So effectively, and I don't like your blouses.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just
all your views.
It's a very, very posh argument. You've probably never seen a posh argument, have you, Kelly?
No.
There we go, you see.
I had a pair of D&G shades once. I lost them, so effectively I've taken part of the boycott.
Were they real D&G, or were they...
Yes, they were. They were D&G. They weren't Dolce & Gabbana. They were like the diffusion line. I probably got them from Katie Maxx, whatever it's called.
How are you feeling, Kelly?
I'm all right, actually.
But seriously, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right.
OK.
She's an enigma.
There's a brilliant... You'll like this one, Kelly, because it involves...
Oh.
No, it's a good... I've got to phrase this carefully. Kelly, look at the... look at the top this newsreader Natasha Belling is wearing.
Oh, yeah. But who spotted that? Some sort of...
What does it look like? Don't say.
It looks like a comical member that
Where's
a child
Willy?
might draw.
TV news reader Natasha Belling flashes a willy-shaped neckline that is shaping up to be a big internet hit. Over 100,000 Facebook and Twitter users got excited about her jacket's phallic design after a joker posted once, "You see this, you can't unsee it." The 39-year-old had worn the top on Australian TV before with a necklace without stirring up a storm. Basically, she's got a kind of rounded bit... I'll tweet a picture of it. She's got a rounded bit around her neck and a plunging neckline, and it looks like a John Thomas.
Yes, an upside-down one.
Yeah, the best kind.
Someone was really looking for that, though, to have found that.
Well, I know. It's like the first person who decided to pump milk out of a cow and have a go with it. I mean, that's kind of... It's pervery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. If you follow @Iain Lee, I'm going to tweet that now. There we go.
A student became illiterate after getting whiplash in a car crash in what scientists say is a unique case.
Whiplash in a car crash?
No, losing your ability to read.
Oh.
The victim was 19 when he had the accident in 2004, and words became like alien symbols. He had to drop out of university. Doctors said the whiplash had caused a cyst to grow. Sheffield Hallam University's Dr. Lynn Barker said he was unable to recognise or write any letter. He learned to read and write again after 5 years and graduated with a first, the SWAT.
Yes, for those people unable to imagine the picture I've just described, Kate Kinsella, the young weather lady, says, "Is it like a sad cactus?" Yes, in many ways it is, like the one we've got up there.
Except it's the wrong way up.
Give us the mirror, please.
Well, I'm using it.
Well,
go on then.
Well, there's a story in there. Did you? I heard this on yesterday. The X Factor rant in in New Zealand. Is it New Zealand?
Yes.
They all get sacked.
How can
it's a rint.
What?
A rint.
Look at her eyebrows.
Had an X Factor rint.
I would like fish and chops. Would you like some fish and chops with that, please?
I prefer chicken.
I want some chicken and some fish and chops, please. Can I have some fish and chops, please?
I don't even know what accent you're trying to do.
Kiwi.
Yeah, but you don't even sound like that.
Chicken.
I'd like some fish.
Kiwis don't talk.
I'm having a meeting about some fish and chops.
No, you're going into South Africa.
No, I'm not.
Going
I want to go on the slide, my honour. My lady. I can't go to prison, my lady. They'll poison me. I just want to go on the slide. Two X Factor judges.
Stop.
Have been fired for bullying. No, have been fired for bullying a contestant live on air and likening him to... Can we try and get the audio of this? This is floating around somewhere. Kelly's going, "Oh, God, more? Really? You want me to do more?"
I don't mind.
It's brilliant.
She laid into him, didn't she?
It's so horrible. And then he lays into her. So it's a husband, it's a woman, Natalia Kills, and her husband, get his name, Kelly, this might help you find it, Willie Moon.
Help me find something.
Both laid into Joe Irvine after he sang Cry Me a River, accusing him of stealing Willie's look on the New Zealand version of the TV show.
Now, can I just point out, he looks like every other kid his age. He's got a side part in. He hasn't got a beard unusually, but he could be anyone.
It's like Norman Bates dressing up in his mother's clothing. It feels a little creepy, and I feel like you're going to stitch someone's skin to your face and then kill everybody in the audience.
Ed Sheeran tweeted him saying, "Don't worry about what anyone else says, man. Enjoy yourself with it. That's what singing is about, not what other people think."
He's flipping awful, though, this guy.
Oh, is he?
He is absolutely awful. There was a clip of him on another radio station yesterday of him singing Bo Rap. I haven't got time to say Bohemian Rhapsody. And it was terrible. And anyway, these people got the sack. And it's interesting to see one of the judges on there is Melanie Blatt.
Yes.
From the All Saints pop group.
Were they big in New Zealand?
The thing is, in New Zealand, surely you can only have like 3 weeks of X Factor because...
There's no members of Crowded House in that panel, and that's obviously a mistake. That's their greatest export.
It is a tiny, tiny place. Uh-huh. Unless you're going to start having sheep coming on. There are 2 sheeps to every boy. I got a 34... Viewers blasted them on social media, and Melanie Blatt tweeted, "I've tried to keep my cool and stay professional, but really, you're a twit."
Oh dear. Here's a novel twist on the usual story.
Yes.
You know when people get famous and then things come out about them, and they say, "Oh, I was young and needed the money," or they say, "No, that wasn't me. That's not my picture. That wasn't me."
Yep.
On that website.
Yeah.
Offering myself.
What?
Well,
what website is that?
Brooke Magnanti is insisting, yes, it was me. I was a call girl, and I am proud of it. She's the woman who wrote Belle de Jour.
What are you talking about?
The blogger.
Oh,
Brooke McNanty.
Billy Piper.
The one that led to that thing with Billy Piper.
Billy Piper shot by a sniper.
Which was pretty good. Now, Brooke McNanty's husband, ex-boyfriend rather, is saying that she was never a call girl. She's arguing she was. Isn't that a funny turn of events?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is.
Talking events, let's have a look and see what's happening eventually on the roads.
Your timing is so poor. You're either 3 minutes over or you're 30 seconds short.
Oh, I've got some good news if you want 30 seconds of good news.
Yeah, go on.
That dog, Jagger, sadly still dead, but it didn't happen at Crufts.
Hey, our integrity is intact.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's queuing on the M1 southbound round junction 10 for the M1 Luton Airport Spur Road. It's looking very slow on the speed sensors, and there's the extra hazard of, a car's broken down. And if you heard Mark's call earlier, he said that 4 people are walking around with suitcases around junction 10. We have looked out for them on the cameras, but can't see them, so we don't have any more details at the moment, apart from that it's looking very slow past that stretch. Having a look at the M25, that's moving well, but it's starting to get quite busy around the M25 junction 21A roundabout on the North Orbital Road. And between Kingsley and Tame on the A129, that's still blocked in both directions because of a car that's overturned between Haddenham Road and Kingsley Road. And looking at the train departure boards, there are no major delays showing up at the moment. In fact, they're all running to time. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you so much, Sammy. Thank you. Thank you so much, my darling. 6:45. It is Tuesday, the 17th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. And a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A rather grisly start to the day, actually. It's rather misty, murky. We've got some outbreaks of rain. The rain, however, has pushed a little further east and north, so hopefully we won't see too much rain this morning. Still 1 or 2 showers around, but they shouldn't be too heavy and they won't last for too long. But it is just rather damp. Now, eventually this will move northwards, and behind it we should get some bright spells and some sunny spells by the afternoon. The wind a lot lighter than it has been, so it is going to feel a little more pleasant by the end of the day. We're looking at a maximum of 11 Celsius. Overnight, we should see some breaks in the cloud. Mist and fog likely to develop before dawn, and the minimum temperature of 2 Celsius. For tomorrow morning, the mist and fog will lift fairly swiftly into low cloud at first, but gradually that looks like for us it will start to thin and break, and we should get some nice sunny spells, and it will feel fairly warm. The maximum temperature up to 11 Celsius, 52 degrees in Fahrenheit, and that's your forecast.
Every weekday from 12, local people.
Wendy Howson and David Shipley are trustees of the Harpenden charity Spotlight on Africa.
So privileged to see lives change, conditions change.
Local stories.
A death cafe will be popping up in Bedford later this month, opening its doors for you to share sensitive stories and talk of afterlife.
Of people with the similar concerns. And you can have a light-hearted side of it as well, and we often end like that, you know.
Local life.
We're going to be heading off into the unassuming countryside of Bedfordshire.
We all know the brick pits and the industrial spoil that's marked the Marston Vale.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Australian... excuse me. Apologies, guys.
Uh-oh.
The New Zealand X Factor. Singer Natalia Kills husband Willie Moon. No, she didn't. That's her name. Natalia Kills husband Willie Moon. Oh, no, she didn't. No, she didn't kill. That's her last name is Kills.
Oh, right.
Singer Natalia Kills husband Willie Moon. She didn't. That's her last name, Kelly. Singer Natalia Kills husband Willie Moon. She didn't.
All right. Okay. Go.
Okay. Singer Natalia Kills husband Willie Moon. She didn't. That's her last name. Her last name is Kills. Singer Natalia Kills husband Willie Moon. She didn't. Both laid into Joe Irvine after he sang Cry Me a River, accusing him of stealing Willie's look.
Oh.
The clip is only of her, though.
Fine. Listen to this. This is flipping nasty.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am just going to state the obvious. We have a doppelganger in our midst.
They think she's being nice. Yeah. Woo!
I, as an artist who respects creative integrity and intellectual property,
On the
I'm
X Factor.
disgusted at how much you have copied my husband. From the hair to the suit, do you not have any value or respect for originality? You're a laughing stock. It's cheesy.
But don't
it's
you copy
disgusting.
Cleopatra?
I personally found it absolutely artistically atrocious.
See, I would say he's not copied Willie. He looks more like... Is it Colin Firth?
Yeah, or Bublé or any...
Yeah, he's copied anyone who's got...
number of
He's
side
only
passing
wearing a
wearers.
suit, isn't he? The designers would have put
Oh,
on
say
it.
that again. That was really sweet.
He's only wearing a suit.
Can you clip that bit for me and
No.
send it to me? Can you clip
No.
that bit for me and send it to me? Thank you.
She'll forget.
I won't. I won't forget. I won't forget. And I won't forget that either.
08459 455
It's on.
555. Let's have a little bit. Do you want to? Should we do a little song? Or do you want to talk? You want to talk? You want to
No.
talk? You talk, girl. Go, girl.
I don't.
Go, girl. I wanna see you smiling bright like the sunshine in my eyes. I literally just made that up. That's how good I am.
Great. And
Go, girl. I wanna see you smiling like the sunshine in my eyes. Oh yeah. Go, girl. Yeah. That is good, man.
I love it.
Thank you, Kelly.
What are you doing Saturday from 8 p.m?
I think I'm making love to you. What?
Do you want to come on and introduce
Yeah,
me?
totally.
Come on in. Do that
Can
live.
I?
Yeah.
Acapulco?
And that's how easily it
I
happens.
take my trousers off?
Yep.
Hey!
That's how easily it can happen.
That's not bad, is it, eh? Have some of that, Otis. And I'm still alive.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Listen, sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, 2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Here comes the whistle.
Justin.
I've learned how to whistle off the back of last week.
Really?
Yeah. I've taken some
Have
lessons.
I done grown up?
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Oh, mate, you're on the same learning curve as my 5-year-old.
I know. I tell you what, it feels good.
Doesn't it feel good?
It does, yeah.
How are you feeling today, Just?
I'm feeling good, actually. I have to say, I mean, I'm up and about this morning, bright and early. The streets aren't particularly tense, which is good for me. So I'm feeling good today, yeah.
But really, how are you feeling?
No, seriously, I'm feeling... actually... I've got a few problems, but apart from that... No, I'm not going to go into those problems. They're medical problems at the moment, and I'm dealing with them.
Have you got Tony Fisher as well?
It's kind of lurking in the background, yeah.
You've taken it... We are asking today. It's that thing where people say, how are you feeling? Yeah, I'm all right. Anyway... Yeah. People ask that question. We're going to answer it honestly today, and it could get pretty deep.
It could get deep. I mean, the initial feedback has been okay. I've been on the streets over the past 20 minutes or so, asking the deep question of the day, and here's what people had to say.
I'm feeling all right. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Come on, talk to me.
I'm feeling all right. That's it.
I'm fine.
Are you really feeling fine?
Yes.
Is there something you want to tell me?
Not really. It's too cold.
Ah, right. So you're not feeling too great. You're feeling cold.
Yes.
Okay, we got there in the end. Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to Tuesday morning. Want to know, how are you feeling?
Tired.
Tired?
Yeah, mate.
What have you been doing?
Just getting up to go to work now.
What have you really been doing?
Nothing much. I can't wait, mate. I've got to go.
Why have you got 2 mobile phones?
Why? Because I haven't.
Not suggesting this gentleman at all. I'm sure he has a legitimate reason for having 2 mobile phones. But him to one side, you only have 2 mobile phones if you're a drug dealer, or if you're having affairs. That's all.
Well, in saying that, unless you work for the BBC, because I've got 2 mobile phones. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not having an affair.
Well, again,
I need to stress that right now.
Okay.
All right.
What should we send Dealey out on?
Well, there's a few things.
Yeah.
I mean, we could potentially track down these 6 people who have walked from junction 10 of the motorway to Luton Airport with
I don't want you
suitcases.
walking in the opposite direction.
Mate, go and find them. Go and find them. If you could, we had a phone call earlier on. There were 5 people walking up the hard shoulder with suitcases towards junction 10 of the M1 to get to the airport. Go. If you jump in the car now, you should be able to catch up with them.
So that's about half an hour ago. And they were about 500 yards from junction 10. They should be pretty much near the airport. So I'm going to get going, try and track them down and find out where they're going. Why are they so
they're going
desperate?
To the airport, mate.
I know they're going to the airport. Why are they so desperate?
So they don't miss their flight, Justin.
All right, okay.
The question should be, why are they walking on the motorway?
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, it's obvious. It's
obvious why they're walking on the motorway.
All right, well, it's obvious where...
to the airport.
Well, then you don't need to find them, because it's obvious where they're going and why they're desperate to get there. They're going to the airport and they don't want to miss their plane.
So shall we leave that one?
All right, fine, thanks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable! The disrespect that child has. Actually, Just probably still go and do it, yeah?
Okay.
Nice one, mate.
I'm
Thank you.
glad you said that.
Yeah.
I was worried the ego was going to get in the way of a good idea.
What have you got for us?
Well, this finance clerk from Cambridge University...
It's not a great start to a story.
I know. She's been going mad, no?
What? Oh, bingo in mad, bingo.
Yeah, gambling addiction. She stole from one of the Cambridge's ancient college, blowing £6 million.
I wonder where that sentence was going.
On online bingo. I don't get that. I don't get bingo. I get addiction.
Bingo is bingo's brilliant. Online bingo, though, that's weird.
She opened up an account with Jackpot Joy in 2006 and over 8 years paid in £324,425 of her own money, won up to 15 grand a time, but continually reinvested her wins. Put on bets totaling over 6 million, withdrawing only 87,600. Flipping heck. But at what point does the Jackpot Joy go, hang on a minute, this is a bit irregular?
Well, I'm guessing the Jackpot Joy lessons will be learnt from this. But
they were quite happy to take the money.
Of course they were. It's a business, isn't it?
Yeah, but flipping heck.
Has anyone ever played the online bingo? I've never done it. It's one of those things, if I did it, I would get sucked in immediately.
I don't even want to dabble with that stuff. Not the way I am with biscuits.
Oh, wait, so, OK, 08459 455 555. Online bingo. How are you feeling? Posh arguments. Anything else? That'll do it for the moment, won't it?
Yeah, I think so.
OK.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, they're accused approaching junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. All the lanes are open again, but there was a breakdown there earlier and the possible hazard of some people in the road. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's slow round junction 16 for the M40. And in Kingsley, between Kingsley and Tame, the A4129 is blocked in both directions because of an accident, so all the emergency services are there at the moment. In Hatfield on Mount Pleasant Lane, that's slow westbound between the A1M junction 4 for Welling Garden City, and also on the A602 southbound, that's looking very busy between the A1M junction 8 for Stevenage and junction 7 as well. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy.
And vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: MPs criticise investigation into so-called Trojan horse schools. Claims police were told to drop Cyril Smith inquiry, and Hitchin Football Club to stay at Topfield.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. 5 separate inquiries were held into the so-called Trojan horse plot in Birmingham, but no evidence was found. Graham Stewart chairs the Education Select Committee.
We found that there were too many investigations, that they were overlapping and wasteful. And at the end of the day, we found that there was no evidence of radicalisation or of extremism or indeed of a plot in Birmingham schools, nor was there evidence of there being a systemic problem elsewhere.
Claims have emerged that police who uncovered evidence of child sexual abuse involving the Liberal MP Cyril Smith in the 1980s were ordered by senior officers to abandon their investigation. BBC Newsnight has been told they were threatened with the Official Secrets Act if they ever spoke of the case again. The incident is understood to be one of 14 allegations of serious corruption at Scotland Yard that are being investigated by the Independent Police Complaints Commission. A Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new store in Aylesbury which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals. More from Tony Fisher.
Yvonne Fauvargue has chaired a parliamentary inquiry into rent-to-own companies like Bright House. She says there's a real lack of transparency in the weekly payment charges and people are not being properly told how much they're going to have to pay. On its website, Bright House says the vast majority of their customers take out a finance credit agreement with them and they publish a lending charter which they strictly adhere to.
Stevenage Borough Council is being accused of ripping off motorists with its parking charges. The attack came in Parliament from the town's Conservative MP Stephen McPartland.
Thousands of local people have signed my campaign to introduce 3 hours free parking to regenerate Stevenage Town Centre. Will the Minister agree with me that in order to regenerate Stevenage Town Centre, it's time for the local Labour Stevenage Borough Council to stop ripping off local people by charging £3.5 million in parking charges a year?
The national minimum wage will rise by 3% to £6.70 an hour in October. The rate for apprentices will go up by 57 pence an hour to £3.30. Hitchin Town Football Club has secured its future in its current home after plans to build a supermarket on Topfield were dropped. Chief Executive Andy Melvin says public support helped the developers change their mind.
When it all started to kick off, they started to realise that, well, perhaps this is not a good idea. And obviously it was a big superstore chain that was interested, and I think they decided they weren't interested anymore. So I think all these things made an impact on the result.
In sport, Reading are through to the FA Cup semi-finals after a 3-0 replay win over Bradford. Reading will face Arsenal in the Wembley semi-finals. In the Premier League, Liverpool won 1-0 at Swansea, and there's a full Football League programme tonight with matches for promotion challenging Watford, MK Dons, Wickham, Luton and Stevenage. The weather cloudy with some showers this morning, brightening up this afternoon, a maximum temperature 9 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's a weird, I don't know, it's weird. There's not a lot in the papers today. They're all very, very strange. You would have thought that the front page story on the papers would have been, I don't know, the police covering up investigations into child abuse instead. Let's have a quick look at the front pages. I don't normally do that. The front page of the Mirror, the bingo mum who blew £6 million. Traveller's fury as BBC backs use of pikey by Clarkson on the Independent. Oh, the Daily Mail's got it. Yard in dock on 14 abuse cover-ups. The Express, how to slash the risk of cancer and Poldark. And the front page of the Times, that dog, what was murdered at Crufts, wasn't murdered at Crufts. Oh, and the Sun, head hires hooker to dress as a schoolgirl. Not much coverage of the police potentially hiding and lying about sexual abuse committed by politicians and, oh yeah, other police members. It's weird, that, isn't it? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's a big... you'd think it would be a bigger story, and as far as I can tell, it's only the Mail that's got it. Corruption probe over decades of VIP sex crimes. Yard in dock on 14 abuse cover-ups.
It's in the Mirror as well, but inside, isn't it?
It's inside in the Mirror, and it's small, because the Mirror have been championing this a bit. Yeah, page 5 in the Mirror. Did it Met cover-up for pedo MPs and officers? Mm-hmm. Front page of the Mail. Scotland Yard stands accused of orchestrating... If this is true, then this is amazing. Scotland Yard stands accused of orchestrating an astonishing 14 cover-ups of VIP child sex abuse. Over 35 years, officers are said to have protected untouchable figures by shutting down inquiries. So Cyril Smith goes in for questioning. He's released almost immediately, and nothing else is said about it because someone allegedly stepped in, and there are other instances. I mean, if this is true, and do you know what? As this story unfolds, I'm now prepared to believe anything. David Cameron said, 6 months ago, if people looking for a conspiracy theory will have to look elsewhere. There's no cover-up here. Are you sure, David? Are you sure you don't want to rethink that sentence?
It's starting to sound less like a conspiracy theory, isn't it?
It's just, it's everywhere. Anyway, it just struck me as odd that that's not a bigger story. Then it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Have we got any texts, Catherine, before we crack on? It's a very odd kind of newsy day. I mean, we'll go through the papers. We'll talk about Grant Shapps maybe and Sandy Shaw, and Poldark seems to be everywhere.
I haven't watched that. Have you seen it?
Of course not.
I've just seen a man, lots of pictures of a man who looks like his mascara's running.
Is that the scar being the operative syllable there? It's his makeup is atrocious, isn't it?
He is pretty though, so I mean, I'll let that go.
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of he's good. I don't remember Poldark from the 70s. Was that around the same time as the Oneidin line?
Was that the one that had the music that went do do do?
That was the Oneidin line.
Was it? Because that was the signal to go home from my grandma's.
Right.
That's all I remember about that.
Set on a ship. That was the signal that TV was about to slow down.
Morning to Shirley, who sent us a charming text message. Ian,
charming.
Shut up and grow up, please. Thanks, Shirley.
Oh, Shirley!
Isn't that nice?
I will do my best, my darling. Thank you for the criticism.
Bright House is the new name for radio rentals, suggests Martin from Ickleford. I didn't realise that.
Are they
was
the same company?
The case. Apparently
we'll talk about Bright House in about 10 minutes or so.
Also talking about... Justin, if you are looking for those people who were walking on the motorway, those pedestrians on the M1 North are now pushing the vehicle on the hard shoulder just after junction 9. Crazy system.
Aye.
That was about 6:30, though.
Well, I'm sure the police would have spotted that on the camera and steamed in there and stopped it.
Also, good morning, Bright House. There's nothing wrong with it, says Tony. In fact, it has a place in our society. Some people can't afford to buy products that they need for everyday living. I had the same problem 20-odd years ago when I wanted to buy a £40,000 house. Didn't have the money up front. You had to pay for it on HP terms through the bank. I had to pay for it over 25 years, costing me nearly $250,000. That's the way it goes. Well, I don't own the house yet. It belongs to the bank.
We will speak to two MPs in about 10 minutes' time. One who thinks that Bright House is actually quite good, and one who thinks it's
immoral.
It's immoral and we shouldn't be supporting it. Catherine, we'll have some more texts in a bit. 81333, start your text 3CR, or 08459 455 555. Now, MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools in Birmingham. 5 separate inquiries were held into the so-called Trojan horse plot. The Education Select Committee found a worrying lack of collaboration had led to crisis and confusion. No evidence was found of a deliberate plan to take over schools. Well, in the three counties, High Wycombe and Luton are two of the high priority areas set up by the Home Office as part of its approach to counter-terrorism. Pete Oliphant is the Deputy Prevent Lead for Thames Valley Police, which covers Buckinghamshire. Morning, Pete.
Good morning, Ian.
This confusion and all these different reports, it doesn't mean that there isn't a risk of radicalisation in schools, does it?
No, I think the point being is that none of us can be complacent. Clearly, there's been a lot of cases in the media where youngsters have been drawn out to Syria and have been exploited when it comes to radicalisation. So clearly, the point being, we can't be complacent and everyone should play their part.
One of the problems highlighted here is various agencies kind of overlapping and clashing. How do you work with other agencies to avoid that, right, you go and do this and we'll do this and, so you're not wasting time or resources?
No, and clearly I can only speak from a local perspective, but certainly our links in with Buckinghamshire and I also work with Oxfordshire and the unitary authorities in Berkshire. We all work in very close partnership. The point being that we are constantly talking to each other, ensuring that we don't have those dangerous overlaps.
What work are you doing with schools in the Thames Valley? How do you get involved?
Well, at the end of the day, what's been come out recently in the legislation that the government has just announced is that there's going to be a duty which is going to be placed upon education and local authorities and the police to ensure that there is clear guidance and clear support when it comes to ensuring that children are not exploited when it comes to radicalisation.
Is there anything realistically, Pete, you can do? Because we've had those 4 girls that went to Syria, and there were some teenagers, I think they were a bit older actually, who got stopped in the last couple of days. If they're determined to go and they've got access to a passport and some cash, they're going to go, aren't they? Having a lesson or a counsellor or something in school isn't going to stop that, is it?
Well, yes, it can. I mean, we've had, obviously, you hear about the cases that, where obviously things have gone wrong, but there's been lots of cases where we've had some great success. And what we've done, we've done intervention sessions with those youngsters and basically tried to change their view back to what we'd say is a reasonable view of the world.
And how do you do that? What's the process of that, Pete? Is it one-on-one counselling? Is it lessons for the whole year? What's done?
A combination. What we look at is each case in its own merit, and basically we can bring in intervention providers who are credible voices within either that religion or that community that can try and speak to the youngster and put them back onto sort of a proper path rather than a corrupted view of whatever it is that they believe that they're doing. So it's very much a case of speaking to the individual, getting them to see a different point of view, a reasonable point of view. But if it's a class that also perhaps has taken on some strange ideas, we can go and talk to the individuals through our education partners, obviously, and they put in lessons which explain what reasonable and British values and all the other things that we would say is important for youngsters to appreciate.
Pete, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Pete Oliphant is Deputy Prevent Lead for Thames Valley Police. Interesting, the use of the phrase British values. I mean, we won't do a phone-in on it, but it could easily be done. What are those British values? 08459 455 555.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
I am a little bit nervous because at 3:30 today I will be phoning up a monkey and interviewing them. For those who even casual listeners to the show will know I'm obsessed with the monkeys, and I'm interviewing one a bit later on. You will hear at least a portion of that interview on the show, probably this week, maybe next week. Because it'll be me that edits it. I don't want no one touching that. So I'm a little bit nervous and I'm a little bit distracted. And then Coffer's got Ray Davis at the same time. It's all go here. It's all go. Now, we were talking. This show is officially supporting Electro Velvet and their Eurovision song entry, which is this. No. Gives me a chance to play this. Waffly versatile. This is our entry, guys, and do you know what? I've had enough of people knocking it and knocking Eurovision.
Well, don't get on the run.
We are 100% behind this song on this show.
You might get wet.
And you should be too.
You're bound to get sneezes or nasty diseases. Take good care when I'm not there.
A waffly versatile. I'm talking about this because Sandy Shaw's in the papers. Now, you remember we spoke about Sandy Shaw the other day? There is a 60th birthday party for Eurovision. And Sandy Shaw was, she wasn't invited to be involved, and she was a bit peed off. Well, there's a Barney taking place now. She brought home Britain's first ever Eurovision title in 1967 with Puppet on a String. And last week claimed she'd been snubbed by the BBC, which hasn't invited her to take part in a televised concert. Well, now Sandy Shaw is on the receiving end of an extraordinary attack from the winning song's co-writers Bill Martin and Phil Coulter, who say the BBC was right to snub her. Martin, 76, says, "I'm not surprised she's not invited. She's knocked Puppet since she sang it. I always want to tell her to give me the money back." According to her manager, she made a lot of money from it. She hadn't had a hit for several records prior to that, and Puppet gave her a #1 all over the world. Yet she says it ruined her career. She's always running it down. Thank you, Kelly. Shaw, 68, admitted to having hated the song and said she was instinctively repelled by its sexist drivel and cuckoo clock tune. But Martin is appalled by her ingratitude. It's all kicking off, Kath. She was lucky to get it, he fires back. She wasn't that talented. She was lucky she got chosen for the Eurovision. Anyone else could have sung it just as well. Sandy was all right, but not as good as she thinks. Oh, blimey, he hates her. I never met her again since that Eurovision. I wouldn't cross the road to say hello to her. Flippin' it.
Ouch.
Meow.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there are delays approaching junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road after a breakdown earlier. It's looking quite slow on the speed sensors. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's heavy around junction 16 for the M40. And between Kingsley and Tame, the A4129 is still blocked in both directions because of an accident. In Hatfield on Mount Pleasant Lane, that's got queues approaching the A1M junction 4 for Welwyn Garden City. And in Hadleywood on the Ridgeway, that is closed in both directions at St Nicholas House. So that's affecting people travelling from the M25 towards Chase Farm Hospital. On the train departure boards, there are no delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. Apparently we're sounding a little bit dodgy-bodsky this morning. Sammy was a bit crackly and I'm a bit one-legged. What do you want me to do about it? I mean, I'm not going to climb up the tower and fix it. That's Kelly's job. 7:17. It's Tuesday, the 17th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. And a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals. More on that.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday morning.
Let me get on with your consumer problems.
Should I expect it to last as a £350 TV or a £250 TV?
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Have you gone back to the retailer? I went and spoke to the company that you'd paid the money to.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
So I emailed again and reminded them of the statutory rights, which I've heard in your programme.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
They've backed down and they have put in writing to me that I no longer owe the money.
And we could do the same for you.
That's fantastic news. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Your team is fantastic because you look after the people.
The JVS Show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
think we need some sort of jingle to illustrate when an election scrap is about to appear on the radio. Maybe we can get Paul Scoynes, along with our excellent jingle team of young boffins and workaholics, to record something for us, because there's got to be lots of them over the next few weeks. People from different sides and different parties having a little bit of a Barney about a story. Here come one of them now. I like your thoughts on this. This is kind of a twist on the old... if you're as old as me, you'll remember radio rentals and other places like that where if you couldn't afford a TV or a video recorder, you'd go and rent them. Well, they're becoming kind of fashionable again in these hard-pushed times. A Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new store in a shopping centre which is part-owned by the Conservative-run Aylesbury Vale District Council. Yvonne Favard thinks the council shouldn't have allowed Bright House to set up in the Hale Lees Centre because it charges high rates of interest to people on limited incomes in rent-to-buy deals. Well, Yvonne joins me now. Yvonne, you think these places are morally wrong, don't you?
I think these places... I have concerns about these shops. I don't want to talk about morals in it. What I want to talk about is the way that some of the most vulnerable people on low income have been exploited by some of these companies.
Well, tell me what your problem is with them.
Basically, they aren't transparent. We did an inquiry, the all-party group into debt and personal credit, did an inquiry into these groups and made a number of recommendations. And even the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, said that some of their practices raised concerns, and they brought forward their inquiry into them by a year because of this. For example, they stress the weekly payments. They don't put the full amount you're paying. We looked into it, and a washing machine that you could buy at John Lewis with their 5-star service cost about £500. If you go to one of these companies, it would cost £1,800 over the 3-year period.
Well, not everybody can afford to buy a washing machine outright, but if they can afford to pay a few quid a week.
That's right. But there are other places to go and get loans which may make this more affordable. For example, the local credit unions are loaning at a much lower rate.
Don't you have to have paid into a credit union for a long time?
Not necessarily, no. Some credit unions are able, under schemes, to loan without you having to save at the same time. So it is worth shopping around for these things. The other issue is that 20% of the goods are given back before the end of the term. I mean, you talk about radio rentals, but everybody knows you don't end up owning the goods with radio rentals.
But you could still pay. You could still pay way over the odds at radio rental. I remember my nan was renting a telephone for radio rentals for about 30 years.
Yes, and I rented a TV when I first got married from one of the rental companies, but I knew it was rental. These are not pure rental companies. They are rent-to-own companies.
But people aren't stupid, are they, Yvonne? Or perhaps you're suggesting they are. If you go to one of these places, you know you're going to pay over the odds, and surely it's your responsibility to look at the costs.
People aren't stupid, but what people are, if your washing machine breaks, you've got 3 kids...
Yeah.
And you need to get your washing done, you are desperate. They are making money out of people's desperation.
But what else? If someone needs a washing machine and their local credit union does require them to have paid in, what do you suggest they do?
Well, what I'm suggesting is actually that the government should look at ways of encouraging low-income savers to build up just a small pot of, say, 500 quid.
Oh, Yvonne, there are families that are struggling to feed their children. You're suggesting that they save their money? Where would they get that money from?
Well, what I'm suggesting is that the government, instead of going into ISAs and encouraging people who can afford to save, saving more, what they do is match fund savings. The most successful low-income saving were the child trust funds.
Is this an official Labour policy?
No, this is my policy that I'm suggesting that the government look at.
So would Labour do this? Would Labour do this if they were in power?
I haven't talked to the Treasury about this, unfortunately. I'm not on the Treasury team. But it's been a suggestion that a number of people have put forward as one of the ways of looking at how we can encourage savings.
People don't have. Yvonne, people don't have. I don't know if you've spoken to people. We do every day on this show. People don't have money to save. They literally don't have a penny to save.
I think you'll find that 23 years at Citizens Advice Bureau, which was my background, found that I spoke to a number of people in debt.
Well, then you'll know that you'll know then that people don't have a penny to save. So your suggestion is impossible for many.
But I'm suggesting that we start looking at how we can encourage people to save. In the meantime, what we need to do is look at other ways. For example, there is an organisation in the North East where the credit union is buying second-hand goods and looking at how they can get people to afford those.
Well, that's
so
great.
That's
great to look forward to in the future. But if there is a family and their washing machine is broken and they've got 3 kids and they are desperate, then at the moment the only option they have is something like Bright House. So surely that should be applauded.
What I'm saying is they should look round and see if it is the only option.
And if it is the only option?
If it is the only option, then it is up to them whether they do it or not. But
exactly.
What I'm saying is it isn't always the only option. And if it is the only option, then what we need to do is ensure that the government, the Financial Conduct Authority, scrutinise the operations of these companies to make sure that they aren't actually exploiting vulnerable customers. I mean, sometimes people do have other options. If they don't have other options, then it actually is a responsibility to ensure that people who are offering to the most vulnerable are not exploiting them. We've already looked at payday lending in that market. This is another company that operates in that market that needs to be checked for their policies.
Yvonne, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Yvonne there is a Labour MP. 08459 455 555. Are we actually going out on the air, Catherine? Is any of this being... It's being broadcast? OK. My computer's gone all queer on me. When your computer that... you rely on to transmit your words out says off-air, you kind of think, Can you hear us, Shouty Chris?
Yes, I can.
OK, excellent stuff, because it's all gone a little bit spooky here at Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, I know. Is she still on?
You're on now, Chris.
Right, that MP?
Yeah.
Why doesn't she suggest the expenses are stopped for MPs, which would save some money. Yep. And if they need some equipment, rather than us go and pay for new stuff for them, why don't they use the second-hand ones?
Well, it's a suggestion. I do, you know, I mean, and it's easy. Hey, listen, I've got a few quid in the bank. I can save. I'm all right. I realise there are a significant number of people who dream of having 500 quid in the bank, who would love to have 500 quid in the bank as for a rainy day fund if something goes wrong, and they just can't do it.
That's right, and they go to laundriettes where they pay money out every week to have their clothes washed. So that is part of the rental money that they would pay. It's like when you have a mortgage, you pay rent. You're not paying rent, you're paying your mortgage. It all goes off to eventually owning it. The woman's talking out of her hat.
Chris, thank you for remaining calm. We were hoping to have the Conservative MP...
Richard Harrington.
Who supports the Bright House.
Yeah, he didn't, but he went to work there for a bit and changed his mind.
And we couldn't get hold of him?
He's not answering his phone, so I've left a message and I'll keep trying. OK.
Jamie's on the line. Good morning, Jamie.
Hi, good morning.
What have you got for us?
Yeah, I was just saying the Bright House deal, I don't think it's that bad, because I used to rent like a video recorder and stuff when I was younger, but I never owned it at the end. This place charges, I've seen it before, it charges about the same as what you paid to rent something. You actually own it at the end of it as well. So it's not that bad a deal. It's like renting, but you get the bonus of owning it at the end of it.
And I kind of think, listen, it's it is pricey. You're paying a premium. I wouldn't want to go that way. But if that's the only option that is available to you to pay, and I don't know what it is a week, a few quid a week, then what else can you do?
Yeah, I just think she was picking an argument for the sake of picking an argument, to be honest.
I'm going to let you go, Jamie, just because Richard Harrington is joining us on the line. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Richard, you are the Conservative MP who, for Watford, that supports these Bright House stores. We just spoke to Yvonne, who is anti them. Tell me why you think they're such a good idea.
Well, I don't necessarily think they're a good idea, but when I first heard Yvonne's argument side of things, I thought, well, they're based in my constituency, so I contacted them. And the chief executive said to me, well, spend as much time as you want in one of the stores. There's no need to be announced. You can wear a staff uniform or you can just sit and listen and do what you want. So I spent a whole morning in the store in Watford, and I sort of understood a bit about the business. I spoke to customers, I spoke to staff, and then I went to the head office the following week. Again, I was allowed the run of it. I sat in on customer services. I could listen to any conversation. It wasn't sort of controlled or anything like that. And I reached the conclusion that under the chief executive, Leo McKee, who's comparatively new, they really have tried to produce a product that for people, these are the same products as John Lewis and Debenhams and all these places, but to pay for it on a weekly basis. And when I looked at the price, the interest rate certainly was nothing like what you read about Wonga and all of these payday.
Yvonne suggests that a £500 washing machine can end up costing 1,800 quid.
Yes, I'm sure that's right. But the fact of the matter is, if you buy a house with a mortgage, you're paying back 3 or 4 times what the original mortgage was over the period of it.
And I'm sorry to rush, because I've got to hit the travel in a second, and I appreciate you coming on, Richard. Another suggestion of Yvonne's was that these places like this prey on the vulnerable people.
Well, that's not what I've seen. And certainly, when people decide they want one, they sit down with the person in the shop. They go through a lot of all their expenses, their affordability, to see if they can afford it. And all I'm saying is that this allows people who otherwise would not... Their only alternative, if they wanted that kind of product, would be to go to proper loan sharks. And this is a reputable company at that end of the market. And I really do think they're doing their absolute best to do it in a way that is as favourable to the consumers as possible.
Finally, another accusation of Yvonne, or a challenge, was that the government should be finding ways of making it easier for average people to save money.
Well, I think that's a very good idea. And I certainly support all of the savings and loan schemes that are run in the area of Watford. But this is a different argument. The question is, should people who don't stack up for normal credit have access to top standard consumer goods that the rest of us take for granted?
Richard? Oh, I'm choked up with emotion there. Thank you very much, Richard Harrington, MP for Watford.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, a coach has broken down just before junction 10 for Luton Airport Spur Road, which is blocking 2 lanes and it's causing 20-minute delays on the approach. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. And also the A602 southbound is looking very busy on the speed sensors between the A1M junction 8 for Hitchin and the A1M junction 7 for Stevenage. Between Kingsley and Tame on the A4129, that has just reopened between Haddenham Road and Kingsley Road after the accident there earlier. And in Hadley Wood, between the M25 and the Chase Farm Hospital, that has been blocked in both directions because of an accident at St Nicholas House. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
These beds are all over the place. Hang on a second. Ah, dearie me. Hang on a second. Right.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. And a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Reading are through to the FA Cup semi-finals after a 3-0 replay win over Bradford. Reading will face Arsenal in the Wembley semi-finals. In the Premier League, Liverpool are 2 points behind 4th place Manchester United in the race for Champions League places after a 1-0 win at Swansea. There's a full Football League programme tonight. In the Championship, 2nd place Watford go to struggling Wigan. Midfielder Ben Watson comes up against his former club and says the players are focusing on Hornets fan Nick Crewis, who is still fighting for his life in hospital.
No one deserves what he got. He went to watch a game of football and ends up in a coma, which is terrible. And hopefully, you know, he continues to get better and he can pull through. And as I say, every win we get now will be dedicated to Nick.
In League One, Milton Keynes Dons travel to Oldham with the playoff place looking more likely than automatic promotion for Carl Robinson's side.
While we're missing our players at key stages, it's difficult to find that form that we were magnificent doing. But
is your mind starting to think about planning for the playoffs?
Well, let's get in the playoffs first, and then if we can keep going and push for automatic, we'll do that as well.
In League 2, second-placed Wickham host Accrington, Stevenage are away to Exeter, and Luton go to Newport. Skipper Steve McNulty is expected to be fit after coming off in the defeat to Portsmouth, with manager John still aiming for automatic promotion.
Absolutely. We need to try and find a way of winning maybe 7 games. Draw here and draw there. That's what we need to try and do. We've done it before. That's what we're going to be trying to do again. Away form's been shocking. Away form has not been good. It hasn't been good. So, only go one way, can't it?
And there's coverage of all tonight's matches on Three Counties Sport from 7. In the Champions League, Arsenal are away to Monaco, trailing 3-1 from the first leg of their last 16 tie. And in Netball Super League last night, Hertfordshire Mavericks lost 56-43 at home to Manchester Thunder. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road is where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we've paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roll.
08459 455 555 is the phone number. Catherine, have we got any texts?
Yeah, we've got this story about Bright House has really got everyone going.
Oh, yeah, go on.
What's new about exploiting, punishing, whatever you want to call it, the poor and vulnerable in our society, says Pat. That's what will continue to happen when you vote in rich people with an appetite for greed. My ballot paper will be used as a protest. I don't want to think about how. Thanks very much for that, Pat.
Well, but the Yvonne, the Labour MP, didn't have any alternative. I mean, she was suggesting alternatives.
Save up.
But they weren't Labour policies. It wasn't, Labour policy to make it easier to save money. And it's, like I say, I've got a few quid in the bank. I'm all right.
Yeah, Jade says she sees it differently. She needed a cooker a few years ago, and due to other circumstances, I didn't have the money to pay up front, so I used a catalogue account. I had a year to pay it off, interest-free, so I paid the same price as advertised in Currys. It didn't cost me a penny extra. I love buy now, pay later. And also, there's this one from Stephen in Milton Keynes says, I hate to ask this, Iain, but if a family can't save a few quid a week, then how can it pay the inflated Bright House payments? I don't think they are inflated. I think they just last longer. Isn't that the case?
I don't know what the weekly... Oh, this studio is completely to cock. I don't know what the weekly payments would be, but I would imagine it would be a few quid.
Yeah.
And if you need a washing machine there and now, and someone is saying, well, you can have one, and it's, I don't know, £7.50 a week, then you'd go along with that, wouldn't you? I don't know because I'm not in that situation. If you are in that situation...
Yeah.
Now, a story that we talked about at the start of December last year, and it's news, good news for Hitchintown FC, whose grounds have now been saved from being turned into a Tesco superstore. Well, this was a big story, wasn't it? Many people in Hitchin backed a campaign to keep Topfield as it is. Well, the Canaries, I'm guessing that's the football club, is it, Catherine?
I'm guessing so too.
OK, found out yesterday that the lease on the site has been extended for a further 25 years. Roy Izzard is the club secretary. Morning, Roy.
Good morning.
This is good news, isn't it?
Fantastic news, yeah.
When exactly did you find out?
Well, February the 26th was a very important day. One of the terms of the new lease we signed was that the developer, Richard Daniels, had a break clause. Now, if he put planning permission in before February the 26th, and eventually went on to gain the planning permission, we could have been forced off of Topfield, whatever we felt about it. We'd have had no choice at all. But he failed to put planning permission in before that date, which means the break clause ceases to exist, and it now means that we cannot be forced out of Topfield against our will. And the lease lasts for 25 years, so for the next 25 years we are safe at Topfield.
The news was announced just before a match last night. I guess the atmosphere was fantastic, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Because, we've had so much support from the town. I mean, as you was mentioning about how you was featured in December, we had the protest march on the day when we played Poole. We got about 1,500 people join in, and the publicity that created and the pressure I think it put on both the developer and Tesco were the supermarket involved. They eventually pulled out. Now, I know they've had their difficulties, but I think the protest campaign that we were mounting made them realise, even if they did want to go ahead, we were going to make it as difficult as possible. So I think people power has undoubtedly really helped.
I was going to say, is that what swung it, do you think, Roy?
Well,
the fact that so many people were behind you?
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic, really. The press coverage, the TV coverage, the radio coverage has been so positive. And if you're the developer, how would you think, oh God, if I do this, what am I up against? So I don't think there's any doubt at all that it was massively important in the decision-making.
What are the plans for the club now, Roy?
Well, that's the great news, obviously, is we're there for 25 years, no one can force us out, but the whole problem is we've got a crumbling stadium, and it obviously needs to be invested and rebuilt, and that's phase 2 of the campaign. Now, obviously, we are still tenants, we still have to take our landlords with us, but we just feel now that with all the public support behind us, if we come up with sensible schemes on redevelopment, we cannot see how they could possibly say no. So we're just moving forward now. We've got various different ideas of how we do the fundraising towards it. But as I say, it has to be rebuilt. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Roy, listen, it's excellent news. I wish you the very best of luck, and I'm glad that we featured as part of the story. Roy, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
We're in the other studio, which, as I was just saying to Catherine, is always fun. Always makes for a fun time show.
It's a bit like camping, isn't it, when you go in someone else's studio?
It's a little bit like camping.
Except not as fun.
I
hate camping.
Camping isn't fun. Camping is flipping horrible, isn't it?
I hate it.
It's you get these, but these supersized tents. If you're just going in your bog standard tent, it's an uncomfortable floor. The novelty wears off. If someone blows off, then geez.
Two things put me off camping.
Yep.
Girl guides.
Yep.
When I was one.
Yep, that would be it.
And Duke of Edinburgh's award. It was not fun camping. The only good thing about the girl guide camp I went on was that everyone else got ill and I became leader of a pack of none.
What?
Well, by default, I became the leader. I was the only one left in the tent. I was puked upon, but I didn't do any puking.
And also, if it's cold, it's really cold.
Yeah.
And if it's hot, it's sweaty.
Yeah.
And it's just a disgusting thing.
You don't need to do it. I mean,
We got anything in the papers? I mean, it's a weird, quiet.
Well, apparently
I'm tempted to sack the show off.
No, don't sack the show off.
Can we sack the show off?
No.
Another hour and 15 minutes of
Don't
this
do that.
tosh.
Prince Harry's going to have a gap year at the age of 30.
What? Well,
Yeah.
how's he going to fund that?
Oh, I wonder. I think he's got savings.
He's looking hot now, though, isn't he?
No,
Look at that picture of him in there. He looks hot.
that's a cat.
Oh, it's Ginger. There's a picture of him in one of the papers where he's looking buff.
He does not do it for me. Do you know why?
Why?
Small boy's head on a man's body. Odd.
Yeah, that happens.
You know, that I'd find that off-putting.
You know what they say? Small head.
Small hat,
That's the fella.
less hair.
So what's he going to do then?
He's going to go to Africa. As he searches for a job, says the Mail, like he has to search for a job.
For goodness sake. You're not going to see him down Starbucks handing his CV in to W.H. Smith's, are
Although
you?
Romeo Beckham's got a job, hasn't he, at the Costa or somewhere?
I think he had it for about 20 minutes.
No, he's still got it.
No.
He's still got it.
Yeah, and he's going to inherit like $50 million.
Yeah, but I think it's good that his dad's giving him a little bit of a work ethic. As a teenager, he took a gap year before beginning his military career. Now, as he leaves the army at the age of 30, Prince Harry is to effectively do the same again. He'll spend the summer working with conservation groups in Africa on holiday. And then doing voluntary work with injured servicemen while actively considering other longer-term employment opportunities. Oh, I wonder who will give him a job.
Oh, dear.
His dad.
08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, a coach has broken down between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 9 for Redbourne. It was blocking 2 lanes and causing 20-minute delays. On the M25 anti-clockwise, there are queues between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. But in Kingsley on the A4129, that's between Kingsley and Tame, that's now reopened in both directions between Haddenham Road and Kingsley Road. In Hadleywood on the Ridgeway, that has been closed in both directions between the M25 junction 24 and Chase Farm Hospital, so that's because of an accident at the St Nicholas House, and it's also causing it to be very busy on the A111 southbound through Potters Bar. It's slow between the M25 junction 24 for Potters Bar and Ferny Hill. Looking at the train departure boards, there are no major delays at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 7:46. It's Tuesday the 17th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. And a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's quite a damp and murky start to the day. Some mist and fog out there, 1 or 2 spots of light rain as well. Nothing too heavy though. Now as we head through the afternoon, eventually the spots of rain will become fewer and further between. It should dry out and we may even just start to see just a hint of sunshine by the end of the afternoon. The maximum temperature is going to feel a little warmer than it has done because the breeze has switched direction. 11 Celsius, 52 degrees in Fahrenheit. Now overnight tonight we'll get some breaks in the clouds, some mist and fog likely to develop. Minimum temperature a chilly 2 Celsius in the countryside. The mist and fog tomorrow morning will lift fairly swiftly into cloud at first, but eventually we should get some sunshine, and in the sunshine it's going to feel quite warm. The maximum temperature 11 Celsius for Wednesday, that's 52 degrees in Fahrenheit, and that's your forecast.
On BBC One.
Can I take your order, please?
What does it take to get a bucket of fried chicken
Come on, we need to smile. We love it here, don't we?
into your hands?
We're constantly, relentlessly focused on growth.
BBC One goes behind the scenes of one of the UK's fastest growing industries.
Great big red sign outside someone's front door is going to look horrendous.
To find out what life is really like inside one of the fast food giants that feed our nation.
It's not rocket science, it's chicken and chips.
The $1 Billion Chicken Shop. Tomorrow night at 9 on BBC One and BBC One HD.
Listening to that, and I'm sure that's an excellent television programme made by our colleagues at... it just reminded me how little television I watch. I don't watch any... I watch on the iPlayer House of Fools.
Yeah.
And Barry from Watford was in it this week. But that's it, really. I don't watch anything.
I find out what's been on the television by watching Gogglebox.
Oh, is that still going?
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
A load of quite funny people watching television, so you don't have to. I quite enjoy that. It sounds rubbish, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, it does sound a bit rubbish. Dennis!
Yes, good morning.
What you got, boss?
I'm just saying youngsters these days have it very hard.
Sorry?
When I came out the Andrew, I rented my first television.
Out of the Andrew?
Sorry, Royal Navy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why is it called the Andrew?
Well, because there was a fellow called Andrew something or other who got so many in the Navy by hitting them on the head and getting them in the,
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Press ganging people.
Press ganging, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But as I say, when I first came out, I rented a television to see the Queen's coronation, but that was in Warrington. But I rented it, I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Luton, I did the same sort of thing. And think, in those days, I bought the house in Luton for 1,900 quid, and I was not allowed to pay more anything on it, more than a quarter of my salary. Well, at those days, I was on 10 quid a week, so I was paying £9 9 shillings.
You're like a window to the Victorian era, aren't
I know
you,
it,
Dennis?
yes, I know. But as I say, you youngsters these days, my granddaughter's just buying a house, and she's paying a fortune for it. The one I'm in now, I bought in Dunstable for £4,000, and I thought I was buying Dunstable at 4,000 because they opened a school across the road and paid £5,000 for its piano. And it took me until I retired, and the day I retired, I owed the Abbey National 60 quid. But I brought 3 kids up in it because, as they ate me out of house and home, as they were big lads, I extended the mortgage at the time. But as I say, I finished it.
I feel like I'm living your mortgage in real time, Dennis.
I know. But I'm just saying how difficult it is for the kids these days.
No, the kids have got it easy these days.
Yeah, but you say rent to buy. Why can't they just rent?
What?
Why can't they just rent something? Don't have to buy the damn thing.
What, like TVs and washing machines?
Yes.
Because they like the idea of owning it, Dennis.
Well, yeah, but then by the time you own it, it's clapped out, so you might as well rent a new one.
Well, radio rentals closed down because people realised that you could go and buy stuff quite cheaply.
Yes, well, as I say...
My nan, I'm sure this is true, was renting a telephone for about 30 years.
Well, I don't know about that, but I rented my television for them for quite a long time.
Oh.
But so I just say I'm sorry for the youngsters these days.
That's okay. They accept your apology.
I've only just changed my telly from one of those ones with a box on the back.
Shut up, really?
Yeah. I didn't see the point in changing it. I could see.
Why do they always say in the newspapers this benefits scroungers with their flat screen TV? Well, it's the only TV you can buy these days, are flat screen ones.
Yeah.
And how big's your screen, Dealey?
Mine, I think, is 30 inches.
Mine is 42 inches, right?
That's
and
a
I
big
bought
boy.
I bought this before we had kids, so 7 years ago. 1,400 quid it cost me, and I was umming and ahhing for about 8 months as to whether I should buy a TV, and I treated myself. I mean, the kids have completely knackered it now, of course. But then I saw a 52-inch television for 250 quid.
Yeah, I know. Prices have come down, haven't they?
But it might be a rubbish one.
It was Polaroid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Are their TVs...
They keep changing tellies so that to make you feel like you've got the wrong one, don't they?
They're clever. And to go back to your point about renting, my nan and granddad for absolutely years and years, a bit like people in your family, my nan and granddad, they had the money to buy a TV, but they preferred to rent a TV because if it went wrong, somebody would come round and fix it for them.
And phones. No one owned their own phone. You'd hire it from BT, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And for goodness sakes, whatever happened to the TV repairman who'd come round in his overalls with his little toolkit and he'd take the back of the telly off and he'd jiggle around a bit behind the telly and fix it.
Yeah, and appear in some of those films as well.
Sorry? Justin, what have you been up to?
Well, earlier on, we had a phone call from people saying that there was 5 or 6 people walking up the M1 with suitcases. The car had broken down. I went out to find them. Boss, I've not been able to find them. I'm here right now at Luton Airport. I've got a great viewpoint as well, so if they were coming up the road, I wouldn't have missed them. I can't find them anywhere.
But we have had reports of a coach breaking down on the M1, so I wonder whether they've all been sent in different directions.
Well, then hang on. Didn't we get a report of someone pushing a car up the M1?
It could be a different story.
What the hell is going on with the M1? It's like
breaking.
It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
If anybody has seen them, I mean, I've been all the way down Airport Way around Junction 10 as well.
I hope you didn't stop, Justin, because you'll have to pay.
No, I didn't stop at all. If anybody's seen them, 5 people with suitcases walking towards the airport. Have you seen them? If so, call now.
See, after that, I got text messages through talking about them walking towards Junction 13. So they're all going in different directions. Heaven knows what's going on and whether they're from the same. Maybe they're from that coach, or maybe maybe they're a different group.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. So that hasn't happened. Is there anything else you would like for the streets this morning, sir?
The papers are very, very poor this morning. Very poor. Kath, any suggestions?
Poldark?
Poldark?
Nah.
Well, apparently he's done a Darcy and got wet.
Here we go. I don't think people drink tea anymore in this country. We used to be a nation of tea drinkers, apart from Kelly Betts, who's given it large.
Yeah.
Right, I used to drink tea all the time. We used to drink tea all the time. You go and have tea. Let's go meet for tea. Now it's coffee.
Yeah.
Now we are a nation of coffee drinkers, and anyone who doesn't drink coffee is some kind of deviant.
Yeah, I totally
Hey, do you remember that coffee we had that made us go absolutely potty?
Flipping at the
Great
potty
times.
coffee.
That stuff is getting stronger.
Front page of the Telegraph. No, they've not gone for the story about the police covering up paedophile investigations. Instead, they've gone on their front page, Britain's too quick to drink their tea, by Sarah Napton, the science editor.
Oh.
It's enough to send teaspoons clattering into saucers. No, not the fact that the police have been covering up stories about paedophiles. But according to scientists, 4 out of 5 Britons do not brew their tea correctly. Despite drinking 165 million cups of tea a day, blimey, you need the loo after that.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Most people do not allow the leaves to infuse long enough for the complex flavours to emerge.
Yeah, this is the problem I've had as a northerner living down south. Leave the bag in and don't put the milk in till you're done.
Researchers at University College of London have cured cancer and have now moved on to... Oh, no, they haven't. They're still just looking at tea.
Yeah.
They say tea must be allowed to steep for up to 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Far longer than the 2 minutes allowed by... If I am making a cup of tea, I'll just dip and swirl. I haven't got time.
Did you just say 5 minutes there?
Yeah.
that's
5 minutes.
I like my tea strong enough to stand a teaspoon up in, and you lot mess around. You just tickle it.
No.
Oh, are we talking tea bags here or tea leaves for 5 minutes?
Or both.
That is ridiculous.
Mia Dovnik, right? I'm not casting aspersions. That is not a British name.
So he's got no right to tell you how to
that
make
is
your
not
tea.
a name with British heritage. Let me correct myself. Mark Miodovnik, Professor of Materials and Society at the university, says, "What frustrates me is the British think they know about tea, but most people have no idea that what they are doing." How dare you? How very, very dare you?
Think he is?
So the question is, how long do you leave it in?
Okay.
How long do you leave it in?
Yeah. And 10 years ago, if you'd have said to me you were going into a coffee shop and paying £3.50 for a cup of coffee, I'd have laughed at you. Nowadays, people are queuing out the door to spend a fortune on a cup of coffee.
Do you know what they've built near me?
Go on.
Drive-through coffee.
Oish.
Drive-through
What is the world coming to? Unbelievable.
Ladies and gentlemen, all is good in the world. Tony Blackburn's in the building. Tony Blackburn's in the office. It can mean only good vibes. Catherine, Justin, we'll speak to you later.
Yeah, thank you, Ian.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. Have we got anything else in the papes?
I don't know, I just shut them because I was thinking about drive-through coffee. I was infuriated. I mean, what are we doing? What next? Drive-through biscuits?
I tell you what, the Mail, page 21.
Right, go.
There is a new saucy drama about the royal family.
Excellent, I'm going to get on that.
Which has got Liz Hurley playing the Queen.
OK, forget it.
In Suzzies.
No.
Yeah.
Still no.
Yeah. Liz Hurley is the Queen in Suzzies and a see-through Basque. The Queen Mother, played by Joan Collins. Beautiful.
Oh, I see.
Beautiful.
OK, it's not a bio-doc or whatever it's called.
No, it's a little bit of T&C, mate. Tongue is in the cheek.
It's the latest tacky US royal drama, as sheer black basque and suspenders leave little to the imagination as she struts around in a most unregal fashion.
The Mail is outraged. I think it's a little bit of harmless fun.
Ooh.
I
like Joan Collins, but I'm sorry she's cancelled out by Liz Hurley.
No. What's your beef with Hurley?
I think she's rubbish. Is it acting that she's doing?
She's a rubbish actress. She is. Her and Kelly Brook are the most beautiful. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. Liz Hurley is the most beautiful woman in the world.
No, I don't see it.
What?
No.
How can you not see it?
Because, I don't.
It's obvious.
No, I think it's all makeup. I think you've been blinded by the slap.
No, mate. You'll be blinded by a slap in a minute.
No.
Clarkson styley.
And do you know what? I'm a little bit disappointed in you. Well, I didn't realise you were quite that easily fooled.
She's honest. 08459 455 555. How hot is Hurley?
But I also don't get Brad Pitt, so maybe I'm blind to beauty.
I'm going to Google Liz Hurley without makeup. Let's see. Liz Hurley, no make-up. Yep, she's fit.
No.
Yep.
Let me see if it's no makeup. I bet she's got makeup on. I bet you. Yeah, she has.
Where?
Eyeliner. Look.
No, those are her eyelashes.
No, silly. You're a silly man.
You just can't handle the truth. Here we go. Okay, here's one. Let's go with no makeup.
Yeah, she's still got loads of makeup on, love.
Where?
Around her eyes, look.
She hasn't.
She has.
She's just got very dark, mysterious eyes.
You are a silly man.
Unbelievable.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, a coach has broken down, which is blocking 2 lanes between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 9 for Redbourne. It's causing long delays all the way back to junction 12 for Flitwick now. On the M25 anti-clockwise, there are delays between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. And in Yardley Gobian on the A508 Northampton Road, that's been blocked by a multi-vehicle accident at the junction for Grafton Road. The emergency services are there. In Hadley Wood on the Ridgeway between the M25 junction 24 and Chase Farm Hospital, that's been blocked by an accident at St Nicholas House, which is also causing queues in Potters Bar on the A11 Stag Hill. That's looking slow southbound from the M25 junction 24 towards Ferny Hill. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
And vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: MPs criticised Trojan Horse Schools investigations, claims police were told to drop Cyril Smith inquiry, and former Hertfordshire choirmaster jailed.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
MPs have criticised the investigations into claims that hardline Muslims plan to seize control of several schools. 5 separate inquiries were held into the so-called Trojan Horse plot in Birmingham, but no evidence was found. Pete Oliphant from Thames Valley Police says their experience is that agencies can work well together.
Our links in with Buckinghamshire and I also work with Oxfordshire and the unitary authorities in Berkshire. We all work in very close partnership. The point being that we are constantly talking to each other, ensuring that we don't have those dangerous overlaps.
The BBC has been told that police officers who discovered evidence of child abuse in London in the 1980s, in which the Liberal MP Cyril Smith was implicated, were ordered to abandon their investigation by their superiors. It's understood to be one of 14 allegations of high-level, serious corruption at Scotland Yard that the Independent Police Complaints Commission is investigating. A Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest. Yvonne Favard has chaired a parliamentary inquiry into rent-to-own companies like Bright House.
What I'm saying is, it isn't always the only option, and if it is the only option, then what we need to do is ensure that the government, the Financial Conduct Authority, scrutinised the operations of these companies to make sure that they aren't actually exploiting vulnerable customers.
Sainsbury's has reported a decline in sales for the 5th quarter running. Like-for-like sales in the 10 weeks to the 14th of March were down by 1.9%, excluding sales of fuel. The national minimum wage will rise by 3% to £6.70 an hour in October. The rate for apprentices will go up by 57 pence an hour to £3.30. A choirmaster has been jailed for 3 years for abusing boys when he worked in Hertford. Andrew Teague pleaded guilty to 3 offences of indecent assault on 2 young boys in 1975. More from Jane Killick.
Teague, who is now 63, was living in Queen's Road in Hertford and working as an organist for 2 church choirs when the abuse took place. St Albans Crown Court heard how his victims only came forward in 2013. After the verdict, one of them said it was empowering to see justice catch up with him. He urged other victims of historic abuse to come forward.
In sport, Reading are through to the FA Cup semi-finals after a 3-0 replay win over Bradford. Reading will face Arsenal in the Wembley semi-finals. In the Premier League, Liverpool won 1-0 at Swansea. And there's a full Football League programme tonight with matches for promotion challenging Watford, MK Dons, Wycombe, Luton and Stevenage. The weather, cloudy with some showers this morning, but brightening up with some sunny intervals this afternoon. A maximum temperature 9 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3counties.
Thank you, Simon. I am flipping hungry. I'm suggesting a Prizzies straight after the show, guys. Hungry. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Here every weekday until 9 o'clock. Then it's JVS. Coming up in the next hour of the show... Well, whatever you fancy, really. It's been a bit slapdash today. It's not been one of our best. Oh, hang on a second. Let's try that again.
Here's a new menu.
Here's a new menu. Yes, boss.
Plums on the M1.
Yes.
Bright House in Aylesbury.
Yep.
And,
You see, we're struggling for content. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. We can't hit it out of the ballpark every single day. Sometimes we're just going to make it to the first or second base, and I don't mean sexually. I mean in terms of actually not getting all the way around the park. And that's fine. That's fine. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Mark's on the line. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, boss. What you got?
Oh, just to let you know that your roaming wanderers on the M1 with the luggage have just been picked up at Junction 13 by a police car.
Junction 13?
Yeah, I've just come off Junction 13 on the M1, coming into Milton Keynes, and the police car's there and he's picking them up.
How the hell? Because they were between Junction 9 and 10. How the hell did they get as far as 13?
Well, there you go, mate. That's one of the last mysteries. But one of them did look like an Albanian goat herder, so maybe he's quite good at walking pretty quick.
How many of them were there? Did you see, Mark?
I only saw two fellas, and they were wrapped up to the nines in sort of ski jackets and hats and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, they were loading them in the back of a police car just off the Junction 13 now.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. Got as far as Junction 13. Well, what's the longest you've ever walked up on the motorway? I always feel very naughty, and I think I've only done it once, and it made me feel very, very uncomfortable. You know when the traffic stops and you're there for hours, and people start getting out and having ice creams and, you know, throwing beach balls and stuff around, and I just think, get back in the car. Please get back in the car. You're not supposed... The one thing I've learnt is you are not supposed to stand on the motorway.
Did I tell you about the time we got stuck on the M6 and there was this woman walking... She was just like strolling along, and we noticed as we looked in the rear view mirror, because you think, oh, here we go, here's one.
Here we go.
She's going to sort it all out. That's why she's got to go to the front of the queue. So we could see her, and every time she walked past a car, the people in the car would wet themselves with laughter.
Oh, yeah.
And we're thinking, what's going on here? Anyway, so she gets level with us. What's the problem?
Yeah.
She gets ahead of us, skirt tucked in her knickers.
Hey, guys! Come on, guys!
Nobody told her. Nobody told
her a damned thing. Isn't that outrageous?
It kept us entertained for literally minutes.
Well, yes. I got out once and stood on the motorway, and I felt so naughty. It was literally just to see if I could see what was going on.
Can't do it.
I can't do it. I had to get back in the car.
Even on a hot day.
Yeah.
Even if everyone else is doing it.
No,
Just can't.
Can't do it.
Feels wrong.
We've got literally nothing for the rest of the show, have we?
We've got some things,
We milked that Trojan horse story as much as we could.
Well, and then we left it alone.
Because let's be... Listen, this is kind of my attitude, and I suspect it's Catherine's as well. If there's nothing to say on a story, well, then... you know, don't try and squeeze blood out of a dry stone. Yeah. You know, we'd said everything we'd said, and it's done.
But we weren't to know, because we waited for that... Just to give you a reason why we put it in anyway.
Oh, not having a pop at anyone, no.
No, it's because the report didn't come out until midnight, so we weren't to know till first thing this morning that there was naught to say.
Anyway.
Simon in Stevenage is furious with me on the text.
Hey, Simon, what's your beef, mate?
Catherine, you usually make complete sense, the voice of truth, honesty and decency.
What?
I know.
With a northern accent, of all things.
So how can you be so wrong about Liz Hurley? She is fit.
OK, we are slightly degenerating into FHM, nuts, loaded and zoo.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I don't mind, because you girls love it.
Well, Helen in Milton Keynes doesn't love it.
Morning, Helen.
You're correct as always, Ree. What's a face? Giant nappy pins. Cannot act at all, just a mediocre face. I mean, I don't want to be nasty about, you know, I believe in the sisterhood and I don't want to take her down. But I don't think she's all that.
She's a terrible, terrible actress. But she's beautiful. I think she's beautiful. Her and Kelly Brook, both terrible actresses, both absolutely stunning.
Kelly Brook, I will concede.
What?
But...
Oh, concede.
Liz Hurley, a bit of a knobbly nose, I think.
All of the news today is on page 23 of The Sun. I like a knobbly nose. You know, I like imperfections.
Yeah. Well, it makes them more vulnerable and gettable, doesn't it?
The big story on page 23... Angry Brian Batchelor, 31, is suing a nightclub for banning him from its limbo contest.
Oh.
After he won 6 weeks in a row in Miami.
Very, very bendy man.
He's 3'6".
Oh.
Now, do we fellas? I mean, I don't understand.
If he's walking underneath it, it's not limboing, is it?
Limbo was a real big thing in the early 80s, wasn't it? Always at some school disco or some party, there would be a limbo type affair, wouldn't there? And it would be a done thing. Well, that's one story on page 23. But another story, too slow racer ban. A charity runner, though, two words that strike the fear into the heart of anyone. A charity runner. Ugh. A charity runner was pulled out of a 20-mile race for being too slow. Nettie Edwards, 46, was 1.4 miles into the run when a marshal removed her. She was told it would take 5 hours to finish and staff would not wait. 5 hours seems quite a speedy run for 20 miles, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Nettie... What would Nettie be short for? A net, of course. Nettie from Wakefield, West Yorks, complained on social media about the Spen 20 run in Spenborough. OK. She wrote, I might not be fast, but one thing I am is a runner. Well, Nettie, I don't think that's running, is it, technically? That's walking, surely. Organisers said it was standard practice to have a cut-off time. Why does anybody... I don't get this running for charity. Why don't you just write a cheque? I'm always... Hey, you work on the radio. You should run the London Marathon or the Milton Keynes Half Marathon. No. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, a Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new store in a shopping centre which is part owned by the Conservative-run Aylesbury Vale District Council. Now, I keep forgetting how to say this lady's name, and I want to get it right. Well, how do you say her name, Catherine?
Forvague.
OK.
Hang on, is that right?
Forvague. Yvonne Forvague thinks the council shouldn't have allowed Bright House to set up the Hale-Lees Centre, in the Hale-Lees Centre, because it charges high rates of interest to people on limited incomes in rent-to-buy deals. Well, Annie Shaw is a consumer journalist and the founder of CashQuestions.com. Good morning, Annie.
Hello there.
What do you think about these type of stores?
Oh, well, it's very, very tricky one, this, because they are providing a service. Obviously, they wouldn't be opening up in that shopping centre if they didn't think they were and they weren't making money out of it. You know, they're a business, but people need to be so wary of them. Basically, they're a very, very expensive way to buy goods. I mean, they are... Let's sort of run down what they do. It's a system called rent to buy, which is kind of like the old hire purchase, where you pay so much money a week for some consumer good, which is going to be something like a telly or a PlayStation or a washing machine or a sofa or something like that. You pay so much a week, which is supposed to be an affordable payment, and that allows you to have this very expensive thing that you thought you couldn't afford. But the thing is that this payment goes on for a really long time. It's phased to make it affordable for you, but you end up paying, twice, 3 times, 5 times the cost if you bought it up front. If you'd actually just paid cash for it and gone to Argos or, the Curry's PC World or whatever, one of those things. So that is the big problem, that people are being really, really kind of, I say, ripped off, I suppose, is the basic word.
But it's not a rip-off, is it? Because it's legal and it's legitimate, and surely it's up to the people who are buying to check the deals and work out how much they're paying.
I think you're absolutely right with that it is legal, but I think what we're seeing really is, we had all this scandal with payday loans, and they were also completely legal, and they did explain what they were doing. And actually, for many people, payday loans were like a brilliant idea. You could just take a short-term loan and pay it back, a couple of weeks later, and where you wouldn't be able to get, say, a bank loan or overdraft or something in that way. But the thing is that people were using them when they actually couldn't afford these payments, and the things were rolling on for years, and they were ending up paying back thousands, getting into a spiral of debt. The thing is that basically that buying something from somewhere like Bright House is probably not the best way to buy something for most people. Now, it's obviously appealing to people who don't have the cash. In a way, it is kind of replacing the payday loan thing, because people who could go and, say, borrow 200 quid from a payday lender and now maybe having more problems because there's been a big crackdown on them, they probably can go into Bright House and buy a PlayStation, for say £10 a month or whatever they're being charged. But they have to recall that perhaps this thing, which might cost them, something like £300 or £400. If they bought it straight off, it may be going to cost them something like, £1,600 or something after they've paid all the weekly payments, the interest, the insurance you have to get with it, because you're not covered by all the consumer rules that you would be if you bought the product straight off. And really buying in another way is probably a much better option. I mean, I would say investigate second-hand market, investigate, for instance, if you're buying things like washing machines and dishwashers and things like that, there are often those stores which sell those slightly damaged goods. They've got a dent in them or something like that, and they give you lots of money off for them. I mean, we've just got one of those in our house at the moment. It's got a dent round the side. You can't see it when it's behind the cupboard, but it's like a couple $100 off what the original price was. Investigate other ways first, because the things do look initially attractive, and they're obviously serving this need, but people who are obviously on low incomes, they can't really afford to be paying this actually total global sum, which may go on for many, many months. Always investigate something else first.
Annie, I appreciate your thoughts on this. Annie Shaw, consumer journalist, founder of cashquestions.com. Your thoughts, please. 08459 455 555. If you've used somewhere like Bright House, why? And how clear was it made to you in advance exactly what you'd be paying?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are severe delays on the M1 southbound between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. That's because of a coach that's broken down and blocked 2 lanes. It's causing 6-mile queues there on the M1 southbound. On the A1M southbound, it's very heavy between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. And in Yardley Gobian on the A5 Way Northampton Road, that's been partially blocked by a multi-vehicle accident at Grafton Road. In Hadley Wood on the way into London between the M25 and Chase Farm Hospital, that's blocked in both directions at St Nicholas House, so that's causing delays, and it's also causing it to be extra busy on Stag Hill in Potters Bar between the M25 and Ferny Hill. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 8:16. It is Tuesday, the 17th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. A Labour MP is criticising the opening of a new Bright House store in Aylesbury, which charges high rates of interest to people in rent-to-buy deals. And a choirmaster has been jailed for 3 years for abusing boys when he worked in Hertfordshire in the 1970s.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for letting me use your studio.
Gosh, I don't often sit on this side of my desk.
Tell me why you did it. What are you going to do to make them feel better? You owe them £15,000 and you better pay it back soon, otherwise I'm going to be chasing you for compo.
Right.
You see?
You look a bit pale in this light.
No, I'm just not. I'm sickly.
Are you looking a bit sickly?
I feel a bit sickly. It's. Do you know what? It doesn't work every day, does it? Maybe it does for you. The show doesn't work every day for me. And today's been one of those.
Is it? Is it not working for you?
It's just a stinker. It's a stinker. Doesn't matter. Only another 45 minutes to go, and I do it so that you sound better than you even are.
Thanks very much.
It's a favour. I'll take a hit for you any time.
That's very kind of you.
Pleasure,
thank you.
My pleasure. What's on your show this morning?
Inheritance tax today
yes.
on the Big Phone In this morning. It's actually a subject we've never discussed on the Big Phone In. I'm going to be asking from 9: is it right to raise the inheritance tax threshold to £1 million? Papers are reporting today that George Osborne has drawn up plans to allow parents to leave homes worth £1 million to their children without paying any inheritance tax. The Guardian claims the bill on properties worth up to £2 million will also be cut by about £140,000.
Hey.
The documents marked as sensitive indicate the policy would cost the Exchequer about £1 billion per year and would benefit mostly high-income and wealthier households. Whilst this change would benefit many people here in Beds, Herts and Bucks, there may be listeners who think £1 billion would be better spent on, for example, the NHS or social care.
Yeah.
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like your reaction to this. Is it right to raise the inheritance tax threshold to £1 million?
I think inheritance tax is criminal.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's criminal.
Okay.
That if I were to die, that my boys would have to pay a percentage of that in tax to the government.
And it's many people don't realise. They think that you only have to pay this bill when you sell the house.
No. You have to pay the bill.
It's due on the person's death.
I think it's outrageous that you can work and save all your life, and there are ways around it. You can kind of give it away and stuff. There are ways around it, but. I just think it's outrageous that you work all of your life and then your children have to pay a massive chunk of it to the government. I think it's disgusting.
But here's the flip side of the debate.
Yes.
Here we are. We're talking about potentially finding £1 billion of public money so that middle-class people who have big houses that have accumulated lots of wealth suddenly don't have to give their children a tax burden when they die.
Yeah.
Is that, at a time when the country's cash-strapped, is that a good use of that £1 billion? Or when we're talking about all the cuts to the National Health Service and to the Social Welfare Bill, etc., would that money be better used helping the neediest?
I look forward to making up an opinion at 1 minute to 10 when I've listened to all of your callers.
Oh, you're going to base your view on my callers?
I always do.
From 9 this morning, I'd love your view on 08459 455 555.
Three Counties Sport isn't just about hearing your team in action.
Comes a Vitra! It's 4! Tom Penn into the top right-hand corner.
It's about the managers.
It always seems that the closer we get to the top, decisions start to go against us.
The players.
You never get an easy game in the Championship, home or away, usually, and it'll be no different this weekend. And no, we're pretty confident at the moment.
And the fans.
Two teams there who deserve to be in the top three, who deserve to go up as well at the same time.
Every day, we bring you latest news on your local team.
In League Two, Luton lost their appeal against skipper Steve McNulty's red card on Tuesday, so he starts a 4-match ban.
Three Counties Sport, keeping you up to date with Luton, Watford, MK Dons, Stevenage and Wickham every day of the week on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I may go out tomorrow if I can borrow a coat to wear. Oh, I'd step out in style with my sincere smile and my dancing bear. Outrageous, alarming, courageous, charming. Oh, who would think a boy and bear could be well accepted everywhere? It's just amazing how fair people can be. Seeing at the nicest places where welfare faces all stop to stare. Making the grandest entrances, Simon Smith and his dancing bear. They love us, won't they? They feed us, don't they? Oh, who would think a boy and bear could be well accepted everywhere? It's just amazing how fair people can be. Attraction everywhere would be Simon Smith and his dancing bear. It's Simon Smith and the amazing dancing bear.
08459 455 555. Catherine, let's have some texts, please.
Is that an email about...
I said texts.
I know, but this is something
I
new.
specifically specified texts.
I know, but this is something new.
Oh.
Okay, Catherine, what have you got?
An email through about our travel reports and they're not moaning about them.
What the heck?
I know.
What the heck?
Laurie Bernard, or Bernard, I like to think it's Bernard, just coming up the M1 going north, well, about 20 minutes ago, just before Junction 9, it said on the overhead gantry, Junction 10 closed.
Yes, but,
Now, I'd been listening to your traffic reports, so I took the risk because they'd not mentioned it.
Yeah.
Good thing I did not take Junction 9 as Junction 10 was open and free-flowing.
Boring email.
Thank you.
Well, it was saying Junction 10 when I was driving up there this morning at 20 to 5. It was closed, and it was open.
Hey, them gantry signs.
Them gantry signs, Guy. The M1's been weird today, with 5 people walking up there with suitcases, reports of a broken down car being pushed.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
The end of days.
We had this story happen here. Do you remember this? When the fellow was... didn't we speak to the guy's wife? The fellow was going to jump off the car park in Luton.
Yeah, it was awful.
Did he in the end?
He did.
He did, didn't he? We spoke to the wife and she was absolutely wonderful.
The wife had been there at the time and heard them shouting.
And they were shouting, jump, jump. And people were getting annoyed because they couldn't get their cars. They couldn't get their cars out. Incredible. She was amazing, that woman. I've forgotten her name, but she was absolutely incredible. What an amazing woman to meet. It's happened again, look. And someone's filmed it.
Oh, no.
Jeering mob urged suicide man jump, and then he did. A baying mob urged a suicidal man on top of a multi-storey car park to jump shortly before he plunged 60 foot to his death. Aren't people...
Disgusting.
Some onlookers shouted, "Get on with it," or "Go on, jump." One was even heard yelling, "How far can you bounce?"
Oh. Really?
Oh. These people should be arrested. The police were there. Obviously, the police were there trying to talk this poor soul down. They should have. Some of them should have gone downstairs and locked him up. Specialist police negotiators tried in vain to talk the man down on Saturday at the busy Southwater shopping centre in Telford, Shrops. Last night, Inspector Ben Smith said this was a vulnerable man. Clearly what he needed was time and space and a professional to help him out. Encouraging him to jump should be unequivocally condemned. Imagine that. It's what, you go home and your kids say, "Hey, Dad, what did you do today?" You never believe it. There's a fella on the top of the car park and I told him to jump. "Oh, wow, Dad, I'm so proud of you."
I saw something similar in Luton. There was a man on the edge of the multi-storey and there was a crowd of people all shouting "jump," and they were getting out of the film cameras and taking pictures. And I stood there and I looked up and I thought, what am I waiting? Why? I don't want to see this.
Well, I imagine it's an hypnotic thing to see somebody, somebody standing on the edge of a building. You're going to be drawn to stare at it, but once you realise what you're doing, I wouldn't want to stick around and see that.
But also, there is a moment while it dawns on you what's happening, isn't it? And you get frozen and you think, is there anything I can do about this? And that's where you get caught, don't you? And some people stay and some people shout by the sound.
Some of the crowd filmed the unnamed man. What you should do is you go home and you hug your kids and just enjoy that. Some of the crowd filmed the unnamed man in his 40s on their mobiles. Oh, my... Now, I don't believe this. I'm going to suggest that this bit isn't true, because I can't believe this. While others even took selfies with him in the background.
Oh, no.
No, I can't believe that. That's got to be made up, the Sun, that bit. I can't believe that.
When I was there, nobody was taking it seriously. They just assumed it was for attention and that he wasn't going to do it.
Even if it is for attention, that is the soul in pain, for God's sake.
Police confirmed several photos had been posted on Facebook. Great work, guys. Huh? Aren't we great as a race of people? Human beings, huh? Witness Kellyanne Taylor, 35, said, what is this thing with putting people's ages in papers?
I don't know why it's relevant unless you are trying to differentiate them from someone else of the same name.
Kellyanne Taylor, 35. That adds nothing to the story.
What does she do for a living? Something like Kellyanne Taylor, 2.
Yeah, exactly. Kellyanne Taylor, who by coincidence was 100 yesterday, said... I am so disappointed in some of our citizens and so incredibly sad for him. Oh, so there's Kellyanne Taylor, then there's Kelly Porter-Smith, 20, added, it made me ashamed to be from Telford. It's weird, isn't it? It's really weird. People are strange. I just don't understand. Yeah, they're right. That was in Luton where you saw it, wasn't it? There were 2 stories. There was the person who didn't jump.
The one I saw was the person who did jump.
Oh, maybe it was... OK.
By the time I'd got to work...
Was that poor woman's husband that we spoke to.
Jumped.
Oh dear! You kind of, you have to realise that these people are, they have family and lives, and there are other people connected to the story,
and that we're all just a fraction away from being that person.
Oh, the life.
We've got loads of texts and stuff coming through as well on people that got stuck on motorways.
Let's do them after the news, shall we? Thank you very much for those. If you do want to text 81333, start your text 3CR. If you want to give us a call. 08459 455 555. Also, the Poldark is everywhere. The Poldark is everywhere. Good-looking fella. I think it's Cornish. muscular. You see a little bit of bum crack, a lot of chest. I've not seen it. Is it just mummy porn? Is that what it is? Is there any kind of artistic merit to it? Or is it just kind of 50 Shades for the telly? Is it that sort of thing? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there are severe delays between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. It's after a coach broke down and blocked 2 lanes, but they have all now reopened. But there are still long queues of 6 miles from junction 12 for Flitwick towards the junction 9 for Redbourne. In Hadleywood on the Ridgeway, that has been blocked in both directions at St Nicholas House, affecting people travelling between the M25 and Chase Farm Hospital. It also means that Stag Hill is very slow as a result, southbound between the M25 and Ferny Hill. In Stoke Hammond on the A4146 southbound, there's a lane blocked by an accident between Drayton Road at Water-Eaton and Stoke Road at the Stoke Hammond roundabouts. And in Yardley Gobian on Northampton Road, that's been partially blocked by a multi-vehicle accident at Grafton Road. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. I've just had an email from someone saying the Suicide Man is now on Facebook as well somewhere. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know. 08459 455 555. You can text 81333. Start your text 3CR, and we'll get more input from you after the news with Simon.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. The headlines. Senior officers at Scotland Yard are said to have ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. A choirmaster has been jailed for 3 years for abusing boys when he worked in Hertfordshire in the 1970s, and Sainsbury's has reported a decline in sales for the 5th quarter running.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The former Holland coach Dick Advocaat has taken over at Sunderland for the rest of the season following Gus Poyet's sacking. In the Premier League last night, Liverpool moved 2 points behind 4th place Manchester United in the race for Champions League places after a 1-0 win at Swansea. And Reading are through to the FA Cup semi-finals after a 3-0 replay win over Bradford. Reading will face Arsenal in the Wembley semi-finals. There's a full Football League programme tonight. In the Championship, second place Watford go to struggling Wigan. Midfielder Ben Watson comes up against his former club. He says the players are focusing on Hornets fan Nick Crewis, who's still fighting for his life in hospital.
No one deserves what he got. He went to watch a game of football and ends up in a coma, which is terrible. And hopefully, he continues to get better and he can pull through. And as I say, every win we get now will be dedicated to Nick.
In League One, Milton Keynes Dons travel to Oldham with a playoff place looking more likely than automatic promotion for Carl Robinson's side.
While we're missing our players at key stages, it's difficult to find that form that we were magnificent doing. But
is your mind starting to think about planning for the playoffs?
Well, let's get in the playoffs first, and then if we can keep going and push for automatic, we'll do that as well.
In League 2, second-placed Wickham are returned to Accrington, Stevenage make the trip to Exeter, and Luton go to South Wales to face Newport, with manager John Still still aiming for automatic promotion.
Absolutely. We need to try and find a way of winning maybe 7 games. Draw here and draw there. That's what we need to try and do. We've done it before. That's what we're going to be trying to do again. Away form's been shocking. Away form has not been good. It hasn't been good. So only go one way, can't it?
And there's coverage of all tonight's matches on Three Counties Sport from 7. In the Champions League, Arsenal are away to Monaco tonight, trailing 3-1 from the first leg of their last 16 tie. And in Netball Super League last night, Hertfordshire Mavericks lost 56-43 at home to Manchester Thunder. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Leslie's in Luton. Good morning, Leslie.
Hello, good morning, Ian.
I always try and come to you, Leslie, with enthusiasm and passion, and you always suck it out of me immediately.
Really?
Yeah? When was the last time you were enthusiastic about something?
All the time.
What? Well, not now, clearly.
No, because I'm speaking to you.
Oh, OK, so you're enthusiastic before you speak to me. The enthusiasm disappears when you're talking to me. And then how quickly after the phone conversation does it return?
Just after the conversation.
As soon as you put the phone down, you're back to being full of the joys of life.
Yes,
marvellous, marvellous. In many ways, I'm like morphine.
Really?
Thank you. What have you got for us, Les?
Yeah, you were talking about people jumping off places committing suicide this morning.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, I witnessed quite a few of this though when I used to work at security.
Quite a few of these?
Yes.
How many suicides have you witnessed? Call me now.
I witnessed 3.
Flippin' heck, Leslie. Where were you? Security, like at home for depressed people.
Luton Arndale Centre car park.
Yeah. Oh,
in the late 80s and 90s.
Oh dearie me. And so, when you say you witnessed it, what you were on the same floor as them? You were on the ground level. You saw it on CCTV. How did it work?
No, how did it work? I remember. I encountered one person wanted to jump and there were people down underneath encouraging him to jump. The police were there trying to talking him down, and all the police could do in them, well, what they were doing, they just tell these people to go away down, on the bottom. There were one girl, young girl, I think she was 17. She just got up and just jumped, and once she was coming down, she was as if she was flying.
She did what? Sorry.
As if she was flying when she was coming down.
We don't need to go into Leslie. Thank you. We don't need to go into the details of what people look like when they're doing that. But thank you, Leslie.
Okay, can we talk about anything else?
Yeah, let's move away.
Hey,
from the
motorway
suicide.
mayhem. Call me now. Here's one.
Go on.
When I was younger, says David of Hitchin, I cycled along the M10 the wrong way with some friends. We wanted to get to a bridge, but when we got there, a police car turned up. The policeman that helped us up the bank even lifted our bikes over the fence, but he did tell us not to do it again. We're asking about when you've got out of your car on the motorway or done something naughty on the motorway that you felt wrong about. Oh, that was naughty. Adam from Hemel, my brother once got out of a car for a wee on the motorway when we were at a standstill for half an hour. Just after he finished, the traffic started moving.
Hey.
I'll never forget him running along the hard shoulder trying to catch us up.
Hey.
Run, fat boy, run springs to mind.
It's always a fun thing to do, and it's the joke that never gets tiring of pulling away as someone's just about to reach the car door, then you stop. No, seriously, come on. And then you do it again and again and again.
You did a car prank on me this morning, didn't you?
Oh, and that was not a prank. That was excellent parking, mate.
That was...
I parked right up close to her car.
I was still sitting in my car as he arrived.
Yep.
He parked so close to my car that I had to scrabble across to the passenger seat to get out of my car.
Scramble?
Scrabble.
Scramble?
Scrabble.
Scrabble's a word game. Boy, oh boy, aren't we crazy pranksters? Let's never speak of this show ever again.
Well, you're speaking of it now.
House splits in two after botched dig by builders. Man, oh, have you seen the pictures of this house? Literally splitting in two. That's not my old house, is it? That looks like my old house. Where is this?
How did it split into two?
Hang on a second, we'll get there.
Builders.
Hang on a second, we'll get there in a second. Let's drag this out as long as we can. We've got 20 minutes to fill, so let's not jump the gun ever so slightly. Where is this? Because that does not look like my old house. A couple whose house cracked apart and collapsed after botched building work described the moment as being like a disaster movie yesterday. Edward Goldswain, 40. What again? What's that got to do with anything? 40.
In case it was another Edward Goldswain, whose house is fine.
And his 8 months pregnant fiancée, Jacqueline Hale, 39.
8 months, worth knowing.
Fled the terrace property just in time. See, I can understand why you'd want to know she was 8 months, because it makes it more traumatic. Mm-hmm. You know, but their ages, I mean, OK, they're going to be old parents. Miss Hale said, it was like an earthquake. You could see the cracks widening by the second. The house was splitting apart. The trauma of the incident put her in hospital with early contractions. Thankfully, her baby was born in one piece.
OK, so that's why we needed to know.
The couple now face having to pay off the remaining 23 years of the mortgage. That really looks like my old house. Gosh. No, it's not. The couple now face having to pay off the remaining 23 years of the mortgage on their £345,000 Edwardian flat. Oh, because they weren't properly insured.
Oh, you guys.
You suckers always get the insurance. They were awarded $300,000 in damage after a judge ruled the collapse was caused by the incompetence of builders. Well, they're never going to get that money from the builders. They'll just go bankrupt. The company is insolvent. The terrifying incident happened in 2012. Builders failed to install proper supports, and 2 months into the work, cracks began to appear.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's in Finchley. Not far from where I used to live. Finchley in North London. Miss Hale said the cracks were just getting bigger and bigger. Is she talking about the house or when she was giving birth? No, the house.
Stop it.
Huh? We thought we have just all... This sounds awful, doesn't it? We'll go to Justin in a second. We have to get out of here, and ran. As we got outside, you could see bricks falling. It was crumbling in front of our very eyes. Well, imagine being the house next door as well. Because that's not going to be brilliant. Have you heard this, Justin?
No, what's going on? What's the vibe?
A house collapsed, mate, after... This is the thing, because she was going to get a basement extension done, right? And this is very trendy these days. Instead, if you've gone up into the loft, you get the basement done. You get dug under the basement.
Yeah.
No. That's a ridiculous thing to do.
You're undermining your house.
Yep. You're doing what?
Undermining your house,
yeah,
literally.
Literally undermining your house.
Good.
Sorry?
That was good. Good line.
No, that's what undermining means.
Hey, local and vocal. The couple now live in rented property in Harpenden.
Oh.
So there is local. They sued Ames Plumbing and Building Services in the High Court, arguing that the firm was not competent to do the job. Well, of course not. They blooming ripped a house apart. Flippin' heck. Justin Dealey.
Yes, boss.
What you got for us, my dear?
Well, we were talking about tea earlier on, weren't we? And the fact that we've now become a nation of coffee lovers. I mean, years ago, it was all about the tea for me. Now it's all about the coffee.
Well, now, I remember being a kid, coffee was this strange, exotic drink, and you would get Nescafe, or you would walk past a posh shop in Windsor that had ground coffee beans, and we would marvel at the smell of the Orient, or whatever, but no one ever actually drank the stuff. I remember having my first ever cappuccino, 1988. I was 15. No, we stumbled in 1988. We stumbled across my friend Robert Thompson, Psycho Bob T, was having this weird drink. We said, "What's that?" He went, "Oh, it's a frothy coffee." It was a frothy coffee, 1988, the first time I'd ever seen cappuccino.
Great year as well, great year.
Those were the days.
Yeah, absolutely. So advice apparently on one of the front pages of the national newspapers today on how long you should be leaving your bag in for.
Yep.
So I've taken this one to the streets.
You went teabagging on the streets?
I went teabagging out there, asking people how long do you leave it in for, and all the rest, and some very strange answers.
Okay.
Here's what people had to say.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog.
Teabag? Half hour?
Come on, you're winding me up.
Strong tea.
You leave it in for half an hour?
And pour some more water in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you can't drink it boiling hot, can you?
Yeah.
When I have a breakfast, I drink it all in one go afterwards.
So if I made you a cup of tea and I dipped the tea bag in for a minute, would you throw it in my face?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't throw it in your face. No, I'll throw it away.
Sir, you look like an English gentleman. You have great swag. Can I ask you, how long do you leave your tea bag in for?
About 2 minutes.
2. The advice is 5.
Really?
Yeah.
So?
Let's get the Romanian perspective. How long do you leave it in for?
6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
Wow. What's your name?
Sam Feeney.
Sam, how long do you leave it in for?
What in?
Tea bag.
Don't know. I don't drink tea.
What do you drink?
Not saying.
Why is it such a secret?
Okay, I drink Coke.
Thanks very much.
1 minute.
A long while. I like it strong.
How long's a long while?
2 minutes.
Oh, 2?
Yes, yes.
Ladies, can I ask you a quick question? How long do you like it in for?
Sorry?
Tea bags.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. About 2 minutes.
Okay, and yourself?
A minute.
Deals, what was everyone's beef? That was a very tense. I thought that was going to be a little bit of frothy fun.
Yeah.
It was a very tense, quite awkward Vox there, mate. What's going on?
Well, I just think, every now and again, and people say, where do you like going to speak to people? Are people normally in a good mood? It's often the things like tea bags, which people take very, very seriously. And there was a tension in the air this morning. Yeah. I got what I needed, and I got out. It was as simple as that.
Listen, I'm hungry. I'm guessing you're hungry.
Yeah.
We hitting Prizzies after the show?
Oh, yes, boss.
You up for that?
I'm so up for that.
See you there, fella. Thank you very much indeed. Boyley.
I think people thought it was an impudent question.
What do you mean, impudent?
Well, let's ask.
Mark?
Hello.
How long do you keep your bag in for when you're teabagging?
My dad used to make a cup of tea at night.
Yes.
He was a Yorkshireman. He used to get his cup. He'd put in a spoonful of loose tea, one sweetener, fill it with boiling water, take it upstairs, leave it on the bedside and drink it cold in the morning.
You are having a laugh. That never happened.
No,
sorry, one thing. You said he was a Yorkshireman?
Yes.
He put sweetener in it?
Well, but every night he had his tea, he made it that night and he drank it the next morning.
Flipping heck, that is, that's actually insane.
Well, yeah, I've been weaned on proper tea drinking.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. I tell you what, I would like to see the reintroduction of course, the ultimate 70s luxury, when everything was going to be made robotic, and the only problem we'd have in the future was how to fill our spare time. The tea's made.
Yeah. I fancy one.
Yeah, I'd love a tea's made.
I bet they're good now.
Well, I bet
they weren't then.
I think it's still the same technology. It's a really crummy old alarm clock and, the weird porcelain pots.
That will burn you, yeah. But apart from that, it sounds good.
I tell you what, we'll have a bit of Trav and a bit of Wev, and we'll look at teas made technology on Tinternet and see if it's advanced somewhat. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound between Junction 2 for Watford Way and Junction 1 for Staples Corner, 2 lanes have been closed because of a multi-vehicle accident. And also on the M1 southbound, there are just over half-hour delays between Junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne because of a breakdown earlier on. On the A1M southbound, it's looking slow on the speed sensors between Junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Stevenage. And in Hadleywood on the Ridgeway, that's been blocked in both directions by an accident at St Nicholas House, which is causing delays from the M25 to Junction to the Oak Avenue towards the Chase Farm Hospital. In Yardley, Gobian on the A548 Northampton Road, that's been partially blocked by a multi-vehicle accident at Grafton Road. But looking at the train departure boards, it's all running to time at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed, Samantha. 8:45, Tuesday the 17th of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The BBC has been told that senior officers ordered detectives to scrap an investigation into child sex abuse after the late Liberal MP Cyril Smith was arrested in 1981. A choirmaster has been jailed for 3 years for abusing boys when he worked in Hertfordshire in the 1970s, and Sainsbury's has reported a decline in sales for the 5th quarter running. 08459 455 555. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It is a rather damp, misty, murky start to the day, but it should start to improve fairly swiftly, actually. We've got 1 or 2 spots of rain still likely, 1 or 2 showers, but they're not going to last for too long anymore. And the clouds should gradually start to thin and break. Now, as we head through the afternoon, we're more likely to see that happen and may even get a bit of sunshine before the end of the day. The maximum temperature likely to be 12 Celsius. It's going to feel a lot milder than it has done recently. The wind switched direction. It's a lot lighter as well. Now, overnight tonight, if you've still got 1 or 2 showers, they're going to disappear. We'll get some breaks in the cloud and some mist and fog likely to develop as well. The minimum down to 2 Celsius. Now, the mist and fog for Wednesday morning will lift quite quickly, and then it's looking like a better day, actually. Dry and actually quite pleasant. The sun should come out, the cloud will thin and break, and it'll feel quite warm as well. The maximum temperature for Wednesday, 11 Celsius, and that's your forecast.
He's only wearing a suit.
Roberto Perrone on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tip-top etiquette expert William Hanson, who is not a fan of politicians oversharing.
Oh, good afternoon, Roberto. I feel slightly nauseous after that music. Thanks for that.
Every weekday from 3.
Let's talk to Harriet Harman, the leader of the Labour Party.
We've been in Bedford and Cambridge, and we've had very interesting discussions.
Let's talk cold callers. Do you have a tried and tested method of getting rid of cold callers?
You've got to make up a word before you go on the phone, and so you can fit that word in without them realising the most time.
Saying actually helps you feel calmer. Did you believe this, Sharon?
Definitely. And since I read that, I've been doing it and I'm well chilled.
Roberto Perrone, weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, let's go to Tom. Morning, Tom.
Hey.
Hey, Tom, what you got for us?
Well, I just wanted to say that, how did you get to be
so good looking?
What you are?
What, a successful, talented philanthropist?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you how that happened. So, what? How did I get to be working on the radio?
Yeah.
That is an excellent question. Why, do you want to work on the radio?
Yeah.
Do you fancy it?
Yeah.
Do you want to come in one morning and do it with us?
Yay.
Whereabouts do you live?
West Wickham, the sweet shop.
In the sweet shop?
Yeah.
You live in it? Hang on a second.
I want to work with you.
I will swap jobs. I'll come and live in the sweet shop. You come and live here. I tell you what. Well, listen. Well, how did I get into it? That's a really good question. I used to tell jokes in pubs and clubs, not very successfully, and I had an agent who was a dodgepot. And one day he said, there's a job going at a radio station in Milton Keynes. I think you should go for it. And I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to work in radio. But I did it and I quite enjoyed it. That's kind of the long way round. Catherine, how did you get into it?
I studied.
Yeah, you studied.
The boring way. The boring way is how I got into it.
Hang on, Kelly's young. How did you get into it, Kelly?
Yeah, studied.
Studied.
Yeah.
Studied. What are you studying at school, Tom?
Well, I'm really studying about maths.
Oh yeah.
We're doing science right now.
Yeah. How's that going? All right.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
You don't need maths. I mean, you probably need maths to get to other things. You don't need maths to work in the radio. Very rarely do I have to do any sums, which is brilliant because I don't like sums.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Tom. You're a bit of a distance from us, but I'm going to hand you back to Kelly or Catherine. Is your mum or dad there?
Well, my mum's here, but she's just driving the car.
Hey!
Do you know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
The holidays are coming, aren't they?
Yeah, you got half term or end of term coming up soon.
Let's see if we can sort something out. I know you'll probably be busy.
Tom, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll have a word with your mum either now or if she's driving, we'll speak to her a bit later on. And we'll see if we can sort out you coming in and hosting with me an hour of the show. How does that sound?
Okay.
Just
Sounds
okay. Tom, it's a deal. I'll put you back to the production team and we'll sort that out. You see? He better not be any good, because if he's too good...
I think he's going to be brilliant.
I do think, and do you remember we suggested ages ago to the bosses here, boy boss and lady boss, that we had a programme where it was me hosting it, but instead of... Well, we take phone calls, but it was primarily two old people having a chat. It's been done elsewhere. It's not a particularly original idea, but you'd have two old people having a chat, and I'd kind of nudge them along a bit, but would sit back, and then people would phone in, and it'd just be a chat.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like the Tony Blackburn show is now. Just some old guy talking to... Can he hear us? No, he's rocking out. He's rocking really out. Turn your music down, Tony. You go deaf. You're right, Tony.
Talking about him.
So you'd have old people talking, and I'd just gently nudge them, and people phone them. Yeah. I would love to hear Sunday afternoon, 4:00. I don't know what we're transmitting then, but I would love to hear a couple of 9-year-olds and a couple of 9-year-olds being and an 11-year-old hosting it, and we'd be here just to nudge them and make sure everything was and press the buttons and all that boring stuff. But wouldn't that be awesome?
I think it'd be brilliant.
And they could play records and they could chat and they could talk about whatever they want to talk about. I would love that. Lady boss, boy boss.
Hope you're listening.
I'm giving it to you. Thank you, Tom. We'll sort that out. We'll see if we can get him in. It's a bit of a distance, but we'll see if we can work that out. Page 7 of the Daily Express. Got two stories. The bigger of the story, taking up half a page, Now Victoria Beckham backs Elton in IVF row.
Yeah.
Victoria Beckham yesterday backed Sir Elton John's call for a mass boycott of fashion giants Dolce & Gabbana over their bitchy hissy fit.
Can I just say a mass boycott? Because we're all thinking about buying a bit of Dolce & Gabbana today, aren't we?
The spat began at the weekend after the gay Italian designers labelled babies born through fertility treatment as synthetic and opposed same-sex marriages. It's hardly a big news story. I mean, it's a kind of a posh spat.
Yes.
Right, it's a posh spat. A tiny part of that page, same page, police bosses to face quiz over claims they hid VIP child sex ring. I would suggest that was perhaps the bigger story, and yet it's a tiny, tiny little part of it.
Isn't that funny?
It's weird, isn't it? Scotland Yard is being investigated over allegations that senior officers covered up decades of child sex abuse by VIPs. And it gets about a third of the page.
As opposed to people being told to stop buying really expensive designer products.
It's a weird world, isn't it? And I really thought, when I heard this on the news last night, that this would be the front page of all of the newspapers, that the Metropolitan Police covered up VIP sex ring. And it's the front page of one, and the rest of them, it's really buried. It's hidden very deeply inside the newspapers. I don't understand. There's a bigger page in the Express about a woman who used to be a prostitute.
I would suggest that if this cover-up allegation was being made towards the BBC, there might be slightly more coverage in some of the newspapers.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's very odd.
Page, important story here in page 3 of the Mirror. Posh Spice wears slippers.
Listen, Posh Spice wasn't always posh.
I love slippers. I love slippers.
So do I, although my dad laughed at mine yesterday. He said they're proper granny slippers.
Really?
Yeah, you've seen my slippers. Yeah, they're sort of mule things.
If you're gonna, they're a bit Bet Lynch.
They're not Bet Lynch enough, as far as I'm concerned.
Here's proof at last that even Victoria Beckham likes to kick off her heels and snuggle up in a comfy pair of slippers. Because I've been waiting for this. I can see you.
Why are you doing that special walk?
What are you doing?
You haven't seen me.
Well, I can see you and I can hear you.
Yeah, but just shush.
What?
I won't interrupt. Just get ready.
But he's like Jonathan Bernard Smith. It's like those people in the cinema who think if they duck down just a little bit, they won't. No one will see them. Well, you could. Listen.
He's back.
Jonathan, you could come in and make as much noise as you want. You are anyway. What you got in your packed lunch?
Ham salad.
Ooh, very nice. Do I need to do anything in terms of setting up? 2 glasses of water. You're gonna need a wee.
That's the wrong jingle. You don't want that. You don't want to play that.
That's
It should be my. Ask Kelly. She can put my stab in. It's the wrong jingle.
Well, that's what we normally play.
Oh, you want me to get Jonathan?
Oh yeah, but you need my stab after that, don't you?
Oh, honestly, I mean,
unbelievable.
We've got 4 minutes left by my count.
Well, you're more than welcome. Listen, it's been a real stinker today. If you want to start early, Jonathan, you're more than welcome to.
Well, it's very kind of you, but I think it would be criminal to deny the audience 3 minutes of yours.
The 40-year-old designer and her hairdresser. What are you doing?
I just put my coat on the back of your
Oh, for
neck.
goodness sakes! Can you hand me my trousers? I'll put them back on. The 40-year-old designer. Are you a fan of Posh Spice?
Which one's that?
What do you mean, which one's that? Beckham? The Lady Beckham?
Oh, good Lord, no.
The 40-year-old designer... This is how desperate we are for content. I'm resorting to stammering over a story about Posh Spice in slippers to try and fill.
Oh.
Honestly, there's nothing.
Is that right, Jonathan?
What's that? Stab? Does it say stab?
Can you hear the bass line coming through from that octogenarian next door?
Hang on a second. Let's not confuse things any further. So what I'm going to do? Travel?
I don't know if that's the right one. I hope it is, Kelly.
I reckon it is.
Right, OK. You're just going to sit there while I do this, are you?
Oh, would you like me to go?
If you could turn around. Flippin' heck. I can see your reflection in that glass. Stop it. Stop pulling faces. Here's proof at last that even Victoria Beckham likes to kick off her heels and... No, look at me. I don't like you looking at them. Yeah. I don't like you eyeballing the ladies. I don't like that. I don't trust anybody here. Here's proof at last that even Victoria Beckham likes to kick off her heels and snuggle up in a comfy pair of... Are you a slipper man? I bet you are.
No, I don't like... No.
Really?
No.
Why not? What's wrong with slippers,
mate? I either wear shoes or...
Not indoors, you don't?
Or nothing. I do wear shoes indoors.
No.
Of course.
No.
It's very common to make people take their shoes off inside.
Well, hang on, so you let them... You've just had a new carpet laid.
Yes.
And you allow people to walk in their shoes?
As long as they're not muddy, yeah.
Well, they still could have spittle on them.
Well, I'll clean that
germs.
up. I'll clean that up. Are you one of those houses where you ask people
May I move
to...
your bag so I can collect the newspapers?
Yeah, please do.
Oh, thanks.
Not long now, ladies and gents. About 30 seconds.
You're such a plum. I nearly swore that.
I was just about to say nice coat, and then I realised it's mine on the back of your chair.
You're such a plum.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Stoke Hammond on the A4146 between Bletchley and Leighton Buzzard, there's a lane blocked by an accident involving 3 vehicles between Drayton Road at Watereaton and Stoke Road at Linslade. In Yardley Gobian on the A508, that's been partially blocked by a multi-vehicle accident at Grafton Road. The emergency services are there. And in Hadley Wood on the Ridgeway between the M25 and Chase Farm Hospital, there's been an accident at the St Nicholas House that's causing delays all the way from Oak Avenue. It's also making it busier than usual in Potters Bar on Stag Hill southbound between the M25 and Ferny Hill. On the motorways, the M1 southbound has 2 lanes closed between junction 2 for Watford Way and 1 for Staples Corner, which is causing queues because of an accident. And also the M1 southbound still has long delays between junction 12 for Flitwick and 9 for Redbourne. Samantha Breff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Excellent stuff, Sammy. Thank you. Obviously didn't have an award-winning colleague peering over your shoulder and, I'll be honest, intimidating you, which is... Well, that's it. Listen, we're going to delete today's show from iPlayer and never mention it again. All right? JVS is coming up next. I've got to give him the finger, apparently.
And vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Tuesday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's big phone-in, is it right to raise the inheritance tax threshold to £1 million? Papers are reporting today that George Osborne has drawn up plans to allow